out there and did a track walk, and I was like, I said, what are you looking for? He's like, I don't know, I just want everything. Like, bro, just, I mean, this is, you're going to be fine. The race is a different ball game, but at least for today, I think the weather's fine. That will be simple. Brendan, luckily, has ran some Speedway stuff, and ran like Xfinity Talladega last year, so not only ARCA Speedway stuff. So I think he'll be fine. And this is actually a fun race because of the slide job thing he was talking about. It's kind of single file. You try to build that energy and grab a guy, and it's kind of leapfrog. Going back and watching the Xfinity race from last year, like Harrison was the guy that was doing it a bunch, like as much as he could. And sometimes it'd work great, and sometimes he'd just get smoked and lose 10 spots. So you have to like pick and choose your battles there. And then like lane choice is a big deal too, because if you can sometimes get 4 or 5 lanes on a lane choice, and at that point you're kind of just hoping a caution comes out quick so you can leapfrog all those guys. But as far as Minnie, I'm not. He's drinking out of a fire hose right now, so it's kind of tough. But I think Brendan's going to be in good shape. Minnie's just going to have to go out there and feel it. You heard him. I didn't know that he did that Miata stuff, but sounds like he's driven quite a few different things. So I think he'll get it.
Then for Justin specifically, on one hand, you're a Cup guy. You've established yourself as a Sunday racer. I'm curious, coming back and now being back in the Truck Series, but with a Tier 1 OEM, when you throw that into a blender, how do you kind of evaluate this stage of your career and where you're at?
I mean, honestly, it's been so refreshing. Me and my wife had our first child right at the beginning of January, so being able to spend time with her, dirt racing, it's honestly just been so fun. Obviously, I do feel like I should be racing on Sundays, but I'm honestly embracing this stage, right? It's so fun to be back with Colleague Racing and Matt Colleague and Chris Rice, and everyone at Ram has been so awesome to me. So, I mean, obviously throughout the off season, I really didn't spend a lot of time at the shop just preparing for our first child, but they've been so awesome, and I honestly am just so excited to be here in the Truck Series with Colleague Racing, and I definitely missed Colleague. The energy that everyone has there, I just wish that we didn't have to go separate ways when we did, but obviously there's a financial part of the sport that they needed that I just didn't have at that moment. But the fact that I'm back, I'm not really sure if I'd ever really want to race anywhere else. So I am glad I got to see some other teams and see what it was like, right? But to be back and back home, it's honestly just, for me, my wife has been so awesome. Yep.
We're going to go to Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. That was actually my question for you, Justin. But Daniel, for you, going from the O'Reilly Series last year to coming back to the trucks this year, what's that process been like from your perspective, and especially as Ram has come on to Colleague and really pushing that forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the competition level in the Xfinity Series the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is higher. So when you run it up front, you have to just be better, which, not saying that we did that much last year, but in the times we did, I feel like I learned a lot. So just using some of that racecraft that I developed last year in the Truck Series, I think is going to put me in a good spot once we get these trucks in a good spot. So like Justin said, Colleague Racing has been was my home last year, and I kind of had a studio apartment in 2024 and fully moved in last year, and now I'm nice and settled.
Justin, you've been around in NASCAR National Series for...
We'll say I'm only 26, so
that's what I'm
whatever
saying.
you're about to say.
Is it weird that you have a rookie teammate that is older than you, considering how long you've been around?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting team dynamic between the four of us and then whoever the fifth is. So, I guess it's odd. I mean, honestly, Brendan has a lot of experience, and he's a great race car driver. And I've actually known Daniel for a long time as well, just as close friends. And we've done some racing together. So, it's definitely different. But I feel like in every team you have a wide spread of teammates. So just trying to figure out where everyone fits in. I will say the crazy part is we're sharing haulers. So Minnie and Daniel are sharing the same lounge, and then me and Brendan were sharing the same lounge, and then I moved out of the lounge today.
One of us has a bus too
nothing
on this
against
stage.
Brendan, so.
It's not this side of the stage.
So it's been fun. It's like I said, I honestly haven't been around much. Everyone at College Racing does an awesome job. I've kind of put my full focus just into my family and our baby. So yeah, it's been good. Hopefully I can start being around the shop a little bit more and start working with these guys. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun.
And Daniel, or is it Diesel Dan now?
No, it's not. There's a Minnie and a Butterbean. I'll just be Daniel. We got enough goofy nicknames on our race team. Y'all don't want to hear the other ones either.
That's what we're curious about. So, you guys, as part of this team, you're kind of the face of Ram. So, how weird is it for you to, if Dodge isn't in the O'Reilly series yet, how weird is it for you to cross the manufacturer lines to run those starts that you're doing in that series?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to race anything. If it's a micro at Millbridge or a different manufacturer in another series, I'm just happy to be making laps. And it's good to, I think every lap that I make helps me in my full focus, which is obviously the number 10 Ram that I'm racing every weekend. That's my main focus, and getting to run all those other things, in my opinion, only boosts my ability when I get in on Friday nights or tomorrow being a Saturday afternoon. So Chris Rice and Matt Collig have been great, letting me race all those things that I'm planning to race. It's going to be some late model races too with Marcus Richmond, which I guess we haven't talked about yet, but there you go. And then obviously those couple races in the O'Reilly series, as well as hoping to get out to Millbridge too and do some of that dirt stuff and try to sneak in some road course stuff too, because I'm not very good at those. So any track time that I can get on that front is good. So yeah, the people at Ram, it's not, the good thing is it's not like it's a conflict of interest, because I can't go race a Ram in the O'Reilly series. So and they're all for it too. The guys there gave us the green light because they agree. It's just making laps and trying to better my craft.
Go ahead, Deb.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. This is for Justin. To kind of build on what you said about not having data points and acquiring the data and all, is what surprised you about the way the Ram truck raced at Daytona? Where do you see it needing work, or anything that surprised you about it? I know Tony Stewart mentioned when he came out of the Infield Care Center, he was just starting to get the handling on it where he felt he would be able to advance.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea at this point. Daytona, it doesn't really give you anything with the spec motor package that we have. So, I do know that I ran Daytona with a different team last year, and it was pretty similar. So, yeah, you really won't know until we get to the downforce tracks what we have. Obviously, kind of mentioning Rockingham, I wasn't a part of that test, but I know the other 3 of them were. So, seems like it's good. We honestly just have to figure out our aero balance, our COP, stuff like that. Just figuring out how much front our nose makes. I do know it's a big advantage being the only OEM with wind tunnel time. I mean, I guarantee we've had more wind tunnel time than any Truck Series team ever has, because we get 100% of it. So that's been good, but you can have all the wind tunnel time in the world, and you just have to apply it. So yeah, we're working on it. We got to, like I said, just get data points. I'm not sure how much more tunnel time we do have, but I know they used it up a good bit in the off season, and just trying to translate that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any final questions? We'll end with Holly.
Hi, Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I spoke with Daniel in St. Pete, but I wondered, what your thoughts are about racing at a track like that. Does it give you guys a little bit more confidence because everybody's basically starting at ground zero for this thing? Or just your thoughts on the road course and what you know about it or don't know, I guess?
I have no idea about any of it. I'm not your guy to ask. I don't even know what it looks like. So, like I said, I've unfortunately, but fortunately, been able to kind of take a step back. And I'm just kind of starting to get back into the grind of things. So, yeah, I'm just taking it week by week. I'm sure it'll be fine. We went to Mexico last year, and we didn't know what to expect. We went to Chicago for all those years. Obviously, I think we have San Diego this year if we go there in the truck series. But, yeah, every week for me, honestly, is a new adventure. It's just like going back in time. It's crazy to go back through truck tech and see all that. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's always great to be in a new market as an industry, and hope we put on a good show.
You forget our boy almost dethroned SVG in that first race that he won at Chicago. So we would have not had this SVG problem if he would have got it done. So I feel good about Justin next week.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you,
It
guys.
was cold.
All right. Thanks for spending so much time with us, and good luck this weekend.
No, it's Raja.
So yesterday we were listening. We were in the background of your.
Oh yeah. Well, like when I first started driving, it would be like Raja or like Ray Joe or right. Like now it's normal. But like when I first like started like running like all of them. Gotcha.
All right, we're going to continue here in the Media Center. As you can see, we've now been joined by the Junior Motorsports cohort. We have Raja Caruth, Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, and Carson Quapple. Just for time, we're going to go ahead and start with questions. And if we could start with Holly in the front.
Welcome. Raja, I wanted to ask you, you had a nice outing there in the car at Daytona.
Could have been worse.
Well, just talk a little bit about what that was. I mean, you did run well, and just what you think it meant for you.
Yeah, I think personally it was great. It kind of checked some boxes or maybe answered some questions I had. Really running up front in a rally car. I mean, I ran the fall race for Jordan Anderson, but it was I wasn't running in the top 10 all day, and really, like I said, answered some questions I had from my years of truck plate racing. So it was great. Unfortunately, got caught up in some other folks' mess, but to finish with a top 10 and get stage points was great, and it showed really just how fast all of our cars were and how much really the work of like the Hendrick engine shop and everybody at JRM to close the gap to the RCR cars over the winter. So I felt like we could take the fight to them last weekend, and didn't work out obviously, but I'm very confident going into this weekend that one of us can get the job done.
We'll go to Matt next.
Matt Weaver, motorsport.com. This is really for all of you guys collectively to answer however you kind of deem fit. But after Austin won the race yesterday, he kind of said he was surprised that you guys didn't take the fight to him more collectively. And I get the impression it's not as simple as just saying wave a wand, JRM cars team up and you can beat the 21. But what is the key to beating him there and here? And why did that not work as simple as just saying work together, beat them?
I think it's circumstantial. Like, just the four of us together are very rarely in a position to be able to line up and just push past, right? I think that, especially when the 2 and the 21 were around each other, they were able to make some really good speed. I look at just even the last lap, really. The circumstances. We had a run off of 2. The 44 had to check up just a little bit. I checked up, and the 32 got me, right? But then once we had the run, we pulled out, and the 32 stayed in because the Alliance on the ECR engine side, he knew his best shot was to go push the 21. That's not a bad thing, but, look, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a fantastic plate racer. but he also had a lot of friends, right? And while a lot of us would like to say, hey, we would do whatever it's going to take to go past the 21, there's still a lot of folks that know if they follow the 21, they're probably going to have a solid day, and they're going to finish in the top 5. And I think, going back to what Raja just said, checking boxes sometimes is different, right? Our 4 up here, we think we have a shot to go win the race, right? There's other folks that are going to be up front late in the going that their goal is to just finish and finish well and finish the best they can, especially in the point circumstances that they are today. And I think, lastly for me, and I'll let them speak too, but the chase format and knowing what the points look like at the end of the year makes those last 5 laps a lot different in Daytona than it does, maybe last year, when a win is maybe more significant than it is now. I think you're seeing, after the first 25 laps, I think you're seeing a lot more guys really understand that, hey, this is a season-long thing that we have to race a lot differently now, and we have to be more mindful of it. And, I don't want to give up wins ever. I'm never going to be content with giving up a win, but sometimes second for us was a good day, and you need to make sure that you're second, not, wadded up in the fence somewhere.
I do feel like Daytona as a whole, for us 4, I feel like we made gains on working with each other and helping each other get to the front and stuff like that. So I do think that it was a positive for us. I would say that it was probably a step above where we have been in the last few races, at least since I've been racing with these guys. So it's also what Justin said. I agree with him. I mean, if 4 of us were all lined up in the top 5 or top 8 coming to the white, it's a different story. But I was back to 10th. I think you were the top lane fell. You were falling back. It wasn't like we were lined up there at the end, right? So. Me and the 8, we did pretty good earlier in stage 3 to get up to the front and put ourselves in a good spot. And me and the 88 were running together all stage 2, and Justin was right behind us. So I do feel like we made gains at Daytona to be better with, ganging up on them. We just didn't really have the numbers there at the end, I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree with them. I think, to their point, I think it's all situation dependent. Like, a lot of people ask me, the second stage when we were all lined up, why did I pull out? I think it's just a situation where, we had a lot of damage. I couldn't take pushes, and I wasn't quite understanding what, Raj's agenda was, leading the pack or everyone in line as well. So for me, taking care of myself was number 1, and then obviously looking out for my teammates is number 2. And I thought we did that well throughout the race. We were able to work with each other when we could, but I think definitely we need to probably work together better, but I thought we did a lot of things good as well. So I think it's going to be a challenge to beat them, but I think if we work together as a team, we can definitely do that. It's just a matter of situations that we're in.
Yeah, and it's probably harder there than at a Talladega to move as a unit of more than 2 cars. Like Justin said, for the 21 and the 2, it's a lot easier to move in conjunction if it's just 2 of you versus 4. So I looked at it as it was my first experience really working with all these guys and seeing their tendencies and really learning what their instincts were. And now that I know that, it's going to be good going not only into this weekend's race, but going to Dega and the other plate races later in the year, how we can really work together. Because I noticed last week there wasn't any chances that any of us really took each other out of the game, but there was probably chances where, as a group, we may collectively could have done things a little different. But overall, personally, I learned a lot, racing with these guys and seeing what their tendencies were, and I feel good for the next time we'll go plate racing, which will be tomorrow.
I think the other part of this too is, I think we all are aware that, like Austin especially, is going to do whatever it takes to win the race, even if that means putting himself in a really bad spot to win the race, right? When we saw some blocks that, you got to have the speed to do it, but you got to also be willing to know that you might end on a wrecker, with Austin versus maybe somebody else. So I think, we get to next week, it's a different story, right? I think kind of the roles flip-flop. So, self-preservation sometimes takes a lot, some of the speedways versus, everywhere else we go throughout the season.
Additional questions? We'll come up to Holly.
Any of you guys could answer this, but is it at this point, as much as Austin wins on these kind of tracks, is there something to be learned from him at all? Or, I mean, how do you get up there and give it to him?
It's tough. I think, obviously, I think we all think this, that Austin's a great plate racer, and honestly, he's the guy that we go to watch. Whenever we're watching the race back, we see what he's doing for moves, and his experience really helps him. And he's definitely it's not just he's got a fast car. He's really good at what he does. But at the same time, the RCR cars are really fast, and obviously having that little bit of an advantage over really all of us is nice, right? But I think he's really good, and I would say it would take a couple of us, 2 or 3 of us, to really take it to him and be able to get him at the end of the race. So we're just trying to get in position, and that's kind of what the whole race is for. Is we're just trying to get in position to be in that spot, and with the green white checkered, we have 2 or 3 of us lined up to where we can go past him. So, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, I would agree with Carson. I think back to Justin's point, I think it's next week and weeks following, I think roles are kind of reversed. So it's just a matter of as bad as we want to win these races and do whatever it takes, the new points format is important to get stage points, finish races. So I think that was a big thing last week. Like I missed a late block on Jesse, and it was a questionable move if I could have gone up, but I know Jesse and I know he's going to be aggressive, so if I make that block, he most likely hooks me. So back to your question, I think with Austin, I think he's a really good speedway racer. To Carson's point, we go to, at least I do, go to watch his in-car, his races, just to see the moves he makes. But, at the same time, he has a fast car as well. And I think we've been able to bridge that gap. And I think if we can just try to work together a little bit more as a team, if we're all in that situation, I think we'll be able to do that.
I would say I definitely learned a lot, especially like the end of the second stage. I was kind of surprised that I was able to kind of read what the 2 strategy was, but the 21 really predicted everything that I was trying to do, from when I was trying to build runs to which side I wanted to get to of his car. It was crazy. He just kind of read me like a book, and I was probably telegraphing what I was trying to do, but it was really crazy just how on the ball he was, and definitely learning a lot from watching it from when I would be racing the Friday or Thursday before and watching you guys in previous years. And really it was a good firsthand experience to see just how good he was of just reading everything that I was trying to do. So luckily a lot of us have the tools to learn from that and evolve. So hopefully the work that personally I've done and we've done during the week will allow us to take the fight to him this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, furthermore, when you're up front week in and week out, and you're doing this over and over again, I look at Derek Nealon as spotter, like great Super Studio spotter. I mean, great spotter in general, but great Super Studio spotter. Their whole team, they do a great job on Super Studios, right? So you're learning at a lot higher sample rate than what you would be maybe if you're in the situation of one of us, where don't necessarily always feel like you're up at the front leading the pack, but you have a good car, but maybe you're not up there and you're not leading it. You're going to race differently if you're 5th than you are if you're out front. And they've had an advantage of their cars are great and they're out front. And when they're able to keep that, they take advantage of it. And listen, if we were in the same boat, we'd do the same thing, right? I mean, you're just doing what you can. I do think that, we have a great shot this weekend to take the fight to them. If we do all the right things, I think we got a great shot. I mean, we have bridged the gaps tremendously over the last 2 years. I would say we've made huge gains on our Super Studio program. There was a time where we didn't qualify better than like 30th, right? These guys don't remember that, but I remember. I mean, we were just hoping that you weren't in provisional land qualifying, but we knew we were going to race well, and obviously that's not the case as much anymore. But everybody at Chevrolet, the Hendricken shop, everybody's been really pushing to make sure that we have the tools that we need to go take the fight to them. And Atlanta's different than Daytona, Talladega's different than these two. So we just have to go out there and do our best and keep working on our craft and do a better job, and I think we'll be in great shape.
We're going to go all the way in the back, and then we're going to come up to Chris.
Blake Smith, WVJS, has questions for Justin. Justin, new crew chief last week with Andrew Overstreet up top the pit box. How different was that from used to having Jim Pullman in your ear, and what kind of boxes did you all check last week in Daytona?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been doing this a long time, and Raj was just talking about some of the things that he learned last week, doing it for the first time at Junior Motorsports. kind of the same, right? I mean, even though I've been here for a long time, you're still learning on the fly. It was cool to see last week, Jim got the pole for the 500, right, with Kyle Busch. That was really special for me, and seeing that. But Andrew jumped in, and really, I'm super impressed with his ability to not only kind of hit the ground running, but to do it in a way that I feel like matches a lot of Jim's energy in a different way, but still matches a lot of Jim's energy and work ethic and being able to put himself forward. If I look at really all of our cars, everybody had a new crew chief driver pairing last week. And, while we've all kind of worked together in the past, we've all had good relationships, it's different. And you got to make sure that relationship starts off good. And I thought we did a really good job of that. And I think, you're going to learn and grow every week. The challenge is now, especially with the chase format, you better hit the ground running pretty quickly, because these summer months you're not going to be able to gain as many points as you'd like to think you're gonna be able to. So you're gonna have to do everything you can to get them now, and hope that you're in a good position once the chase starts.
Thank you, and good luck to all of you this weekend.
Thank you.
If we could get a mic to Chris, please.
ChrisKnight@catchnice.com. This question is for the group. I'm curious to know if you guys are okay with going straight from qualifying to the race. Would you guys like to see practice come back at Echo Park Speedway? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I think for me, I guess all of us except for Carson ran when it was repaved the first time in 23, 22 maybe. I think for me, with the rules how they are now, I don't see a big need for practice right now with the engine rules and the aero and all that stuff. But if that changes with how the racetrack ages as it continues to age and stuff like that, I definitely would see the need for practice to come back. But personally, I don't know. I guess it's probably qualifying here is kind of simple, and the race maybe for rookies, right? It's a hard track to kind of figure out on the fly. But I think personally, until there's another change, I don't see a need for practice at this current time here.
The driver in me wants practice, right? The realist in me knows that we have 2 backup cars for four teams, and one of those cars is really far away from being put together. So as much as we all want to learn, I don't know what we learn. When I want practice, Chris, is when we go back to downforce, package, and open motors, and we do the way we used to run around Atlanta. That would be my hope. But I don't think that's ever going to happen again. But, that would be that. I don't know how fast it would be right now, but I feel like it would rival anywhere we go speed-wise if we're able to do that, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. But, we'll see what the future holds. But as Roger said, as the track gets older and ages, and the surface wears in, the cars definitely are a handful to drive, which is great. I think you need that for separation, right? We need it for passing. We need it to open up different lines, and we'll see what happens tomorrow afternoon. But I really think that the way we're doing it now is the best case scenario for the teams and the budgets and the way we have to show up at the racetrack.
Yeah, I would agree with Justin. As much, I think, as I'd like practice, I think it'd be a situation like it probably was at Daytona. Just run through the boxes, check everything you would like, but you're not going to go out and draft because you only have those 2 backup cars. And to his point, that's what makes it tough. Is if everyone had a backup car and it was good, I think everybody would love practice, but I think it'd be tough to risk doing that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar to Justin. If I could practice for 4 hours, why not? Let's do it, right? I'd love to go practice, but to his point, the budget side of it and the sets of tires and all that stuff, and the backup cars, it'd be a big jump financially to be able to do that. And honestly, I feel like Atlanta, how it is now, it's aging, but it's not aged yet. And I mean, we're still going to qualify wide open, pretty much no problem, and the handling's not really an issue, and we're focusing on trying to trim drag out of the cars with also keeping the downforce. So maybe in this place, if it ever gets to where we're lifting out of the gas and it's more 1.5 miles like, maybe. But I see right now, I don't really see a need for it, honestly.
And then how much does the race dynamic change tomorrow if it's a race to halfway?
I mean, it definitely changes it. It makes you kind of have to be more aggressive early on, right? And I feel like the points change how it is for us. I thought it was going to show up a lot more at Daytona in the first little bit of the race. I thought we were going to be a little less aggressive, but it seemed like lap 3 or 4 we were already 3 wide. So
lap 1, turn 1, I saw 3 guys ping pong balling off each other, so it didn't make a difference.
I thought it was going to make more of a difference, and it didn't. So I don't really know. I mean, the weather, it's not really something we've had to fight, or at least the whole last season I never had to fight it or anything like that. Maybe we thought of it here and there, but it'll definitely add to the aggression level. I just don't know what the aggression level is going to be like with the new points and all that. I feel just more varieties or variables, I guess you can say, that are going to be added into it, and we won't really know those until we take the green flag. So obviously hoping that weather stays away, but we might be racing pretty hard there till halfway.
I mean, personally, I think you still have to have a big picture mindset with, like I remember watching the chase as a kid and seeing how important it was to not compound the days, whether someone will make a mistake early in the race and then really put themselves in a bad spot trying to recover from it. So I definitely agree with Carson that the intensity will probably be a little bit higher, but in my mind, you still have to have a big picture mindset given. I mean, you can't leave with an egg. You can't leave with single-digit points or in the low teens, because that's going to hurt you for the length of the season. So that's kind of my mentality the whole year, right? Like, you're still racing for the win, and you don't change in that aspect, but you're not throwing Hail Marys anymore. At least I'm not, right? You got to finish the races and be there for what's later on in the year.
My old man budget's coming back again, but not my budget, but the fans' budget, right? So, obviously these fans come here and they spend a lot of money to come to these races and watch, and whether it be the Truck Series or Rally Series or the Cup Series, I want them to get every lap, right? I want them to watch every lap on the racetrack that they are able to be here. So selfishly for them, I want to see our race not have any rain and go the full distance, because whether we're racing to halfway or we're racing full race, it's going to be great. But I want our fans to feel like when they walk out the doors or walk out the gates that they got their money's worth. And I can argue last week in all 3 series they got their money's worth, right, when the races were over. Is that the same this year or this week? I don't know, but that would be my goal. And look, if we're going to halfway, it still could be an epic finish, but I'd much rather be the checkered flag, not a stage finish or a halfway number. I'd rather it be legit, coming to the checkered.
Yeah, I would agree with all those guys. I think if it is a halfway race, the aggression ramps up with 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires. I think obviously it's going to be a hotter first race than we've seen in a while. So I think there'll be more handling involved, and I think definitely if it's a halfway race or the rain is coming, I think the intensity and chaos will definitely come out more. But I think to Raj's point, as much as everyone wants to think of the chase format, I think it'll take a couple races for a lot of guys to kind of think that way.
Go ahead, Tim.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Today. I have 2 quick ones for you, Justin. Obviously, what it's like, the points race with your experience, but just how good does it feel to be talking about points again? And do you have a target points number that maybe you want to get to at the end of the regular season?
No target points number. I think top 3 is the goal, right? You want to finish kind of the regular season top 3. I think that helps tremendously with the reset, how it goes. But I think there's a lot of ebbs and flows in our series versus maybe on the Cup Series side. Like, it's a little bit different. I'm excited to get back to points. I mean, even if I look at last year, right, we took 3 cars to the Final Four, and really it could have been any of the 4 of us in the Final Four. I mean, at the end of in Martinsville, it came down to who won the race and how we were going to all get in, right? So I mean, it was tight. But that being said, we took 3 to the 4 and 3 out of the 4, and we still didn't win a championship. I think in this format scenario, it benefits our group significantly more, right? You're able to put your best piece on the racetrack every week, but use the resources that we use on a weekly basis. You're not pooling all of those resources and kind of putting them into one event. I don't know that us or any of our group would have done anything different last year, nor would I think Jesse would have done anything different. But I think that when you're racing over 9 races versus 1, you're going to do things differently. You're gonna race differently. That one bad pit road, whether it's driver error, slide through the box, or you have a stuck lug nut, whatever it is, doesn't affect your day nearly as much. One second place finish or 5th place finish doesn't ruin your day. You're able to kind of spread this out over a few races, and I think that that's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. So I'm excited to see it. Look, I think maybe I'm in the wrong mindset, but I still think it's going to come down to the last couple laps of the last race of the year for all 3 series, like it has. If you look at the points the way they would have played out for the series the last couple years, I think the Truck Series was the only one that would have been kind of a moot point. So I think we have to still do our jobs every week and just know that you're never out of it.
And then just looking back at last weekend, I mean, obviously I know you're getting pushed through down the backstretch, but is there anything maybe you felt that you could have done different on that last lap to maybe change the outcome?
I mean, I wish that the 44 and I could have gotten connected a little bit differently. You know, when the 32 hit me coming off of 2, you know, it was still too early to kind of pull out, and I don't know that the 44 was at an angle to be able to pull out to where I could have helped him. But I would have loved to have at least seen us try to push the 44 past, and then, you know, whatever happens on the front straightaway happens on the front straightaway, right? But, you know, Brendan's been around this sport for a long time and put a lot of effort and time into it, and, you know, that team. So, you know, the goal was to try to push them out and get them ahead of the 21, and you kind of hope the 32, whoever goes with you, and set you up for a different outcome. But it's just not the nature of how it worked out. So I can look back at every lap that I've ever run and wish I would have done things differently. You know, but at the end of the day, you do what you think is right in that moment, and it worked out that way.
Any last questions? All right, guys. Thanks for spending so much time with us, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, if you could sit in one of them. Hello. Welcome. We're going to keep rolling here in the Media Center. We've now been joined by Richard Childress Racing teammates, Jesse Love and Austin Hill. First off, congrats, Austin, on your win last week. Pretty dominant performance. We're going to go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start in the front with Mike.
Mike Hembry, NASCAR.com. Austin, you underlined last week the fact that you're pretty good in this series. The junior motorsports guys were just in here, took them like 30 minutes, and they couldn't explain how they could beat you. Does your continuing success make you want to push more toward moving full-time into Cup? Is that out there pretty soon for you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the end goal has always been to run Cup and at least give it a shot for 2 or 3 years, but I'm having a lot of fun where I'm at RCR, and having a lot of fun in this series. If the right opportunity presents itself to go Cup racing, I would definitely entertain that. But you know, as of right now, I'm fully committed to this series. I'm having a lot of fun in it. These cars are by far way more fun to drive than the Cup car is, in my opinion. The Cup car is a lot of fun on the road courses, but on the oval style stuff, it's just the O'Reilly series is just where it's at for me. So in saying all that though, yeah, I mean, right opportunity presents itself. I'd love to go Cup, you know, give it 2 or 3 years and see if I can make it in the Cup level or not. If not, kind of be an all-guyer of the series. I have a lot of fun doing what I'm doing right now.
We're going to go to Holly and then Jordan and Steven.
This is actually for both of you. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. Obviously, the two of you have really kind of led the way with the restrictor plate races. Is there much of a rivalry between the two of you at this track or at those kind of tracks? Because it typically comes down to the two of you to decide one of you will win the pole, the other will win the race, or maybe both. But just talk about what it's like for the two of you competing at these kind of places.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, yeah, Austin's won a lot of races. How many races have you won now?
Like total or on the
Total.
Speedway?
Well, Speedway stuff, I guess.
15, but it's 11 Speedways.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, a pretty outrageous amount of wins in general, right? But yeah, obviously sometimes I, you know, get worked up over the fact that, like, dude, I mean, I want to have 11 wins, right? Or 15 wins at that. So yeah, there's that motivation, the fact that I know I can do it. Obviously I have the equipment to do it. So I guess there is that motivation because Austin hangs a lot of banners around RCR, around the building. So I have that motivation for me, and I guess that rivalry. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't see him much different than I do anybody else. I look at him the way when we go to Phoenix, I look at Justin Allgaier, right? Like when we go to these style of racetracks and some other ones as well, but especially with these ones, I definitely, look at him. He's the toughest guy to beat. And, I definitely learn a lot from him. And then, at the end of the races, you're always, you're sometimes racing some other people in the field, but 9 times out of 10, unless he's behind the wall, you're racing for the win.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off of that, I would say that
you don't want me to have the 11 wins.
No, definitely not. But I would say that when we're out here at these speedways, especially we're here at Atlanta, the number one car that I don't want behind me at the end of the race is the 2 car, because I know that he has just as good of equipment as I have, and he knows what he's doing on these super speedways, and he should have already won here in Atlanta his first time here. It just didn't work out with the whole fuel saving stuff that went on at the end. So if him talking about me being his biggest threat, he's my biggest threat, I feel like, on the racetrack as well. So yeah, there's always that little fun rivalry that you have inside of the shop, but I think it kind of elevates both of us to the next level and pushes us to be better on the racetrack. So we work well together when we have to, but then when it's like gloves are off and we're going for the win, we're going to try everything we can not to lose the race for both of us, but obviously he wants to win and I want to win for our team. So it's a fun little rivalry that we have when we come to these places.
If we could get a mic to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. This question's for Jesse. You're doing the COTA race in the Cup side. What went into that? I mean, you've done various other tracks. Is just trying to get reps on a road course in the Cup car?
I like your hat today, Jordan. I think for me, obviously, I've ran Bristol, ran the short track, Richmond, ran Indy, ran Kansas on intermediate. So I'm trying to, obviously my goal is to, race on Sundays. And when I do get there, not have to, have a lot of growing pains. So the more I can do, the more, different types of tracks that I can run, the better it's going to shorten that learning curve for me. So I can go, when I'm preparing for that season, whenever that starts, that I can look at, road courses, speedway, short tracks, intermediates, concrete tracks, and have a pretty good understanding of what my strengths and weaknesses and goals and expectations and all that stuff are going to be. So I think this plays into that. And I think with the rest of our races, I think, we announced Talladega as well. So got the nod from the PR rep. So we announced Talladega too. So that's going to be kind of completing the circle of getting to race all of them. And that's what I wanted to do, building out the schedule. And I think that's important for me, for my development. And also it's a good opportunity to race as well, not having to race for stage points. But also, I feel like COTA's been a good track for me on speed. And I think that with the stuff that I've been able to do in the off season, while it's still fresh in my mind, a road course off the bat will be good for me.
Go ahead, Steven.
Steven Toronto at Toronto 92 Network. This will be a question for both of you guys. Denny was on his podcast, and he said that if there's any kink in the armor of the RCR Speedway cars, it's that here in particular, when the track gets hot and slick, because you don't have as much drag, you can kind of get a little squirrely. Are you guys aware of that, and have you taken steps to address that? And I guess the second part of that would be, would that not even be as much of a concern, given that we're probably going to run at night, weather's forecast is kind of iffy tomorrow? What do you have to say about that?
I think we fixed that last year. February race had a lot of speed, had a really good balance of just raw speed, and then also the car drove good. We didn't get to show, the 21 team didn't get to show what we had in the summer race because we had an issue early and went multiple laps down, so I was just kind of riding around in the back after that. But I believe that both of our cars are going to be really good, no matter if it's in the hot and slick or if it's cold and fast.
Yeah, I think Denny was kind of looking to say just find something, right? I mean, Austin restarted 12th with like 20 to go and took tires and was pushing me for the lead within like 2 laps, right? So I don't think handling was a problem there. I had to tighten my car up a little bit throughout the race, but I mean, we have our debrief forums at the end of these races, and I wrote down that I thought my car handled, for the amount of speed we had, like the handling to speed ratio was as best as I could possibly ask for it. So I've always thought we have had one race here where the handling was bad. I think it was in 2024 in the fall, and we missed it there because in the spring in 2024, when we were out front leading the whole race, like, I mean, it was so cold out and there was so much grip in the track. And then in the fall, it was super hot. So, yeah, that was a kink in our armor there. But since then, you know, we've really had it dialed in nicely, and we managed, like, the speed to handling ratio, you know, really well.
All right, good deal. Thank you, guys.
Any final questions? We'll come over here.
Austin, Joey Chapman, Speedway Motorsports. You're obviously no stranger to success at the drafting tracks, but what is it about Echo Park Speedway that really sets it apart? What do you like about racing here? You've obviously gotten a victory here before, so what do you like about coming out here that's different from Daytona and Talladega?
I mean, this track it does race a lot different just because things are happening a lot quicker. It's a mile and a half versus your 2.5 mile tracks where you can generate runs a little bit easier. Here, it's just things happen very fast. You got to be kind of established where you want to be, especially when it comes down into the races early. Easy to get single filed out here. You might see some good 2x2 racing, especially with it being a night race tomorrow night. But yeah, I don't know why I've had the success that I've had in Atlanta. I mean, it's just been good to me. There have been, you know, talking about not having good handling race cars. When I had the gold Bennett car here for the 50th anniversary race, I was going to run 5th or 6th, and that's all I had that day. And we got down to the end of the race and had a restart, and I was able to take the lead and just held on for dear life. So just some of these races have went my way that I shouldn't have won. I shouldn't have won the race that Jesse led all the laps, and I saved some fuel. Caution came out right when we needed it to, and then got through the gears good, had some fuel left over to make it to the end. And then, like I just said, the gold car race did not have the best race car that day by far. I was out of control. So there's been multiple races where a little bit of luck has to be on your side. So, you know, with us winning the amount of races that we've won here, they haven't been dominant performances by any means. So tomorrow night could be one of those races where we're just in the mix and something's going to have to go our way to get the job done. It's extremely hard to win here. We've made it, I guess, look easy at times, but it's anything but that. But I do have a lot of fun coming here just because it's a place that, you know, I grew up racing at. It's my hometown. So you always want to go out here and compete and at the highest level and win races for everyone here in Georgia. So it kind of gives you that little extra motivation when you come to a place like this.
All right, Austin, Jesse, thanks for spending time with us, and good luck this weekend.
We're going to now continue on with our media availability here at Echo Park Speedway with the Kennemental Pole Award winner, Jake Garcia, driver of that number 98 Quanta Services Curb Records Ford. Walk us through that qualifying lap out there. It was really competitive out there today.
Yeah, you know, I didn't do much, honestly. Qualifying here is one of the easier laps we have of the year. So, you know, I really give most of the credit to my guys building a fast race truck. And, you know, I think we've got a fast Quanta Services F-150 for tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And, you know, I think we just got to keep it out front and execute and hopefully come away with a good finish and competing for the win at the end of the race.
Sounds great. We're going to open the floor for questions. If you have a question for Jake, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start here with Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. When you have track position to start a race like this, does that what does that do to change the strategy or impact your strategy at all, especially being on the front row with a teammate?
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to affect it much, but you definitely want to control the race as much as possible, as long as you can. But I think maybe if you were starting in the back and you needed to flip track position, you would want to pit off sequence or something to try to get ahead a little bit. But I think with everyone running in a pack and it being so close together, you can't really do much different than what the norm will be, as the leader. But you never know. I mean, if a caution comes out towards the end of the stage or in the middle of the stage, where it's close on fuel to make it to the next stage break, you might see some, a split strategy. But I think it should be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, being from Monroe, just how do you feel about getting the pole here?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously really special. This is a place where I came and watched races like on my birthday and stuff like that. So I have a lot of memories up in the stands at this place, and yeah, it's really cool to be able to come here as a driver and lead the field to the green flag. So really excited to be able to do that in front of a crowd of fellow Georgians, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Next to Matt.
Matt Weaver, motorsport.com. Got a funny question for you, actually. Early in the year, like every year at ThorSport, I have no idea who's driving which truck. You guys have like musical chairs.
I'm in the 98 this year,
you are,
by the way. Yeah.
But what goes into that?
I think a lot of times, and the philosophy is kind of just if something's not working, we change it. So whether that be with crew chiefs or car numbers or whatever else may change up there, I think that it keeps a fresh cycle and keeps everybody on their toes, certainly. But also they don't let you be complacent if you're not running good. They'll change something, and I think that's what's led. That mentality is what's led to a lot of ThorSport's success over the years, I think it definitely helps people find, helps drivers find the crew chiefs that they're best working with, or things of that nature.
All four trucks, whoever's driving them, are all starting in the top 7. And I'm curious, how does that help all of you? And have you guys had some sort of strategy meeting to figure out how to work together with this style of racing?
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be important to work together in pack racing, and obviously, but especially here where I feel like the outside, stacks up so much, and it's hard to make passes because you almost have you need a hole to get up in, and so if you can get 4 trucks together where they're nose to tail and not peaking on one another, then I don't think anyone can really get by them unless a bottom lane forms up, which we have seen in the past, especially at the end of stages and at the end of the race. But I feel like that's the main thing you can do to help out your position when working with teammates.
Do we have any additional questions for Jake? Going once, going twice. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Hello. We'll go ahead and start with our post-qualifying with our pole winner here today in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Congratulations on that run. We were watching it in here, and you were green the whole time. So from the moment that you made your way on the track, you were definitely going to be in the lead there to take the pole award. But talk a little bit about what that looked like from your vantage point in the car, and really just what it means to start on the pole for tomorrow's race here at Echo Park Speedway.
Yeah, for sure. The second round was definitely a lot easier than the first round, just kind of because you knew what you had. Obviously, the Audubell Chevy was really, really fast in the first round. I kind of struggled getting off pit road just with spinning the tires, and honestly, the HMS engine shop almost gave me a little too much power, made it a little challenging to get off. But yeah, huge shout out to them. I don't think we'd be sitting right here
without those guys in the engine shop. So huge shout out to HMS. But yeah, just really solid lap, super easy right around the bottom. When I was kind of sitting in the car before we rolled off, I really didn't have any stress. I kind of just trusted what we did and all the adjustments we made and kind of what we learned from the first round. So it definitely worked out really well. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how we handle tomorrow. I think we've found a good balance of handling and speed. I think we were kind of the first ones to get that balance last year. We weren't quite on the pole, but we were definitely up there in the top 3 or 4 pretty much the whole time. So I think we found a good balance, and I think having the Chevy power kind of is giving us that edge to maybe get in victory lane tomorrow.
All right, congratulations again. We'll go ahead and go to questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a mic too. We'll start up front with Zach and go to the back for Chris.
Zach Cerniolo, NASCAR.com. Having Sheldon on row 2, what does that do for you guys in terms of trying to strategize and control at the start of this race?
I haven't even looked at the lineup. Is he 3rd or 4th? 4th. So I'd probably end up picking top. Just have someone behind me I can trust. And we worked pretty well at Daytona together. We were kind of figuring out the Chevy noses again for the first time in a couple of years. So obviously it didn't last very long because of everything that happened. But I think we can work really well together. We talk about it a lot. So we're definitely going to dive in together on that tonight and definitely dig in and see what we can do to really take advantage of that, because that is a huge opportunity for us. And that's what RCR has been so good about, is connecting and just staying there. So hopefully we can replicate that in our own way and kind of do our thing.
Speaking of RCR, Jesse was P10 in qualifying, and Austin Hill was P20. Do you take anything away from that, or do you still anticipate them doing what they do here and finding their way to the front?
They're sandbagging, brothers. There's no way. Let's be honest. But no, seriously, I think that they're still going to be a threat tomorrow. Bottom line is they know what they're doing. There are no slouches over there. So they're going to be. You're going to have to watch out for them for sure. It's just a matter of when they get there.
All right, Chris in the back.
Hey, Sam. Chris Gollin with Above the Yellow Line Media. So with the importance of points in this format, how much of a premium do you guys place on keeping the track position you now have to get a good points haul out of stage 1?
Yeah, it's important for points, but the biggest thing is staying out of the trouble. We didn't do a very good job of that last week. Like, we came off pit road really good at Daytona, and we were an island, and we got shuffled to the back because we got our doors blown off, and then we were in a wreck. So hopefully we can kind of be ahead of the game a little bit this week. We kind of know what to expect on all fronts, and just take care of the race car at the end of the day. And having people around me that I can trust, a lot of the HMS motor guys, like JRM and the 17 are up front as well, so we can definitely trust them, rely on them. They're good race car drivers. So having people around you can trust and just kind of get to the end of the stages is definitely very important. So but us having the track position definitely is important too, to hopefully we can lead at the green checkered.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, any additional questions for Sam? Okay, we'll go to Chris here in the middle.
ChrisKnight@Trends.com. Sam, is it too early to tell what the biggest difference is between having a Ford and a Chevrolet at places like Daytona and Echo Park?
Yeah, it's still too early for sure. But I'm definitely super excited about the opportunity we have for this year and this season. Everyone at Haas, everyone at Haas factory team, Gene Haas especially, getting on board with this decision to switch over to Chevy has been amazing and a great opportunity. For me, it's like going back home because I've been Chevrolet literally my entire life. So for me, it's like jumping back in the saddle like nothing ever happened and getting on our merry way. So we'll kind of know more as we get through the season, but for right now, I'm definitely really excited about our opportunities this year.
All right, go ahead.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Today. I just want to follow up with a question that Zach just asked. Obviously, I know you made the joke that saying RCR was sandbagging, but did it surprise you in any bit that they ended up with that strategy? Because I know a lot of people were talking about they thought they were going to be the ones to chase.
It definitely does surprise me that it was that dramatic. I've talked with them in the past, and they've always kind of erred toward having that downforce, quote-unquote, package that handles well during the race. You see that more in the summer, especially out of them, because it is hot and slick. But, I mean, it might be hot and slick tomorrow, so that might be them playing into that hand. So I was definitely surprised to see it be that drastic. But At the end of the day, I'm not going to be surprised to see them maybe blow my doors off there coming towards the end of the stage because they're going to have a lot of speed. It's just a matter of when.
And obviously, in the past, there's been a lot of cautions and so on here, and it's been unpredictable. But if you guys do happen to get a green flag stop, how challenging is pit road here? And I know obviously you've had a little bit of experience, but does it get easier as time goes on, or does it get harder just kind of like driving the bottom lane does?
Yeah, I mean, this place is insane when it comes to pit road. They had to, overhaul the pit road procedures for this place. That's how crazy it is. So I'm hoping that we don't have to make a green flag stop, just because, there's a lot of inexperience in the field anyway. So for us, I think the stages will work out where that's not really a threat, but definitely going to have to look out for it if it does happen, especially for our car.
All right, any final questions? All right, congratulations again on the pole and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank y'all.
Hello, how are you? Good, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Anywhere? Yes, anywhere. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Echo Park Speedway. Big thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and kick off our morning availabilities with Daniel Suarez. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Obviously, last week was your first week with Spire Motorsports. You also are a former winner here at Echo Park Speedway. So as we come into this second race of the NASCAR season, just tell us a little bit about your experiences last week in Daytona and what you're looking forward to today.
Yeah, first of all, good morning, everyone. Honestly, I couldn't be happier. Everyone at Spire Motorsports has been nothing but great to me, not just this year, but really since last year, because all the work started since the first week of November. So we had a little bit of a busy off season, but I'm very happy that all the work and the work that really the team has been doing even before my time is showing. We have had very fast cars really since the first time I jumped in one of these things in the test in North Westboro, and then the same thing in the Clash in Daytona. It was the case again. So I'm super excited. Honestly, I couldn't be happier. I have a great group of guys, not just working very hard at the shop, but also traveling to the race weekends, and it's always fun to have a group of guys like this to go to battle every single weekend.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open for questions. If you have a question for Daniel, raise your hand. I'll work to get a mic to you. We're going to start up front here with Mike Hembry.
Mike Hembry, NASCAR.com. Daniel, this track has been really good to you, with the exception of last year's crashes. But is there anything in particular you like about this track? It just fits your style, or what?
When they change the configuration of the racetrack, I would say that 80% of the drivers were very negative about it. And I would say that I was part of the 20%, just because I like new things. I like new challenge, and every time I see something new, for me, it's a sign of an opportunity. So that's just the way that I approach it, and it just worked out for us. Obviously, this is, for me personally, I don't see this as a mile and a half, and I don't see this as a super speedway. It's like a hybrid, and just the fact that it's completely different, I enjoy that a lot. And obviously, this place has treated me well. Last year we just didn't do as good as a job as we have in the past for a few different reasons. But we know what those reasons are, and I'm making sure that we don't make the same mistakes again. Thank you.
All right, if I can get a microphone to Holly and then Bob right here in the middle.
Hi, Daniel. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. What is it about this track that you have had the success that you have? Because it's been long going that you've done well here, and just kind of, do you just find yourself suited to that style of racing? Is it whatever it is in the universe here in Atlanta? What do you say?
That's a good question, Holly. Honestly, I don't know. Really, since before the configuration, I used to do pretty well here. I think honestly half of the battle is mental. When you come into this place and you're already like, oh man, there is a high chance I'm gonna crash. I feel like there is a good percentage that you're gonna crash. So I think, I just try to enjoy it, have fun, and I've been fortunate enough that I have had good race cars here as well, because it's not just myself. It's an entire army behind me, and I've been fortunate enough to have good race cars here in the past, and we've been able to take advantage of that. But like I say, we also made mistakes last year. We got a little bit too greedy, myself and our decisions last year, and it just didn't pay off. So it's a balance, right? I believe that I'm good here, and last year I didn't do anything. I don't have anything to show for. So it's a combination that you have to have between driver and the car, and I believe that we're gonna have another shot at it tomorrow, because based on everything I have seen from Aspire Motorsports, they were also very, very sporty here. So it's been a lot of fun, to do our homework preparing into this weekend.
All right, Bob, go ahead.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. In a couple weeks at Phoenix, both IndyCar and NASCAR will be there. Do you view that as any sort of opportunity to kind of help increase the NASCAR fan base among Hispanics who might be more in tune to IndyCar?
Yeah, Bob, I think that's a great question. I think it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm super excited to continue to explore these double duties, or whatever you want to call it, with IndyCar, because IndyCar, I think, is an amazing series. I really, really love watching those guys. I have a couple good friends racing that series, and it's fun. And I believe that actually the fan base that they have is quite different than NASCAR. I'm not saying that it's better or worse. It's just different. So doing these double duties, I think, is fun, because you bring these two different fan base together to watch NASCAR and IndyCar. I enjoyed when we did it back in Indianapolis. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to do it again. And hopefully it can be, it can be the beginning of bringing new opportunities, because I don't see why not doing it more often. IndyCar, like I say, is a great series. They continue to grow. They continue to get better. Obviously, NASCAR, the same way. We are, the biggest motorsports in the country, and I don't know who doesn't want to be racing with NASCAR. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So I think it's amazing that we get to do it with a series as IndyCar. Yeah, but it's okay. We are heavier, and we are more horsepower. It's just different. It's a different kind of racing. We are just more physical kind of racing. I mean, you know that. But yeah, I mean, IndyCars, they are super fast. They're super, super fast, especially in ovals. But yeah, they're gonna make us look like we're running bicycles. But it's just completely different things. I mean, our race cars weigh maybe, their race cars weigh maybe 25%, 30% of what ours weight. So it's just a completely different game.
All right, we'll continue with questions. I know I have a question here in the back.
Hey, Daniel, Richard Allen, motorsportsreport.net. You've had to make several transitions through your career, going from one team to another. What have you learned over the course of your career that made the transition from Trackhouse to Spire easier than maybe it had been before?
The biggest thing that I have learned, I've been fortunate or unfortunate enough to make this transition a few times, as you mentioned. But the biggest thing I have learned is that it's everything about the people. It's everything about the people. It doesn't really matter what kind of banner or what name they have. If you don't have the right people in place, it's gonna be tough. And that's the one thing that honestly I truly, truly love about Aspire Motorsports, is that they have an amazing people from top to bottom, and I really enjoy that. I really love to see their values, what is important for them. There is a reason why they have the word respect on pretty much everything that they do, and that's the biggest value that they have, and that goes, like I said, from top to bottom. So, in the last couple of years, and I have mentioned this several times, I have seen Aspire as the fastest growing organization out there. And when you're outside looking in, you always wonder, what are they doing? Now that I've been part of this organization for a couple months, I understand what are they doing. You know, it's everything about the details and about people, and I'm just very, very proud and fortunate to be part of this journey with them.
All right. Do we have any additional questions? Okay. We'll go to Deb and then to Kelly. All right, up front here. Thank you.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. Daniel, you were at JGR when Chris Gayhart was there. What do you see him bringing to Spire?
Yeah, you know, actually, Chris and I, we fought for the championship back in 2016. He was crew chiefing Eric Jones, and I was with Scott Graves. And he's extremely smart and extremely competitive. At the time, crew chief. I have nothing but respect for him. Obviously, you know, I never really got to work with him. Only one race actually in 2017, and nothing for respect for him. He was extremely fast in 2016. He was the biggest threat for us to win the championship with Eric Jones. So nothing for respect for everything that he has done in his career.
Thank you.
All right, Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Daniel, a few of your fellow competitors have begun to be more outspoken about how tired they are of getting beat by SVG on road courses, and they're starting to put in even more work, if that's possible, to as we look ahead to COTA next weekend and the upcoming road courses. Where do you stand on that? Are you trying to do anything different? I mean, how much focus is of like, you know, somebody's got to take this guy down?
Yeah. Listen, SVG is very good. SVG is very good. He's been doing road course racing for a long time. He's very experienced as well. So it's a perfect combination, right? Like, he's been doing this for a long time. He has probably most experience in the entire field combined in road course racing. But guess what? He's human. So as far as I know, every human here is beatable. So we're working very, very hard to get there. I know SVG actually fairly well, and I know he has a lot of strengths, but he also has weaknesses. And I know that there is ways to get there, but you have to be very good as well. And I know I can get there. I have been there actually in the past, so it's gonna be fun. It's a good challenge, you know. I love challenges, and I think that he's not gonna be easy, because he has set the bar pretty high. But like I said, he's human, and I believe that not just myself, but there is many organizations out there, many drivers that are working very hard to catch up on him. And listen, he's been doing a good job, not just as a driver, but also he has brought a lot of new ideas from Australia about how to set up the car, because it's not just about, you know, him jumping to any race car and winning. It's not just like that. It's him making the car do things that he's used to in Australia. So he has done an amazing job. Credit to him. But that just is an opportunity for us to continue to learn from that and continue to get better.
All right, Chris, you're in the middle.
Chris Knight, CatchOnS.com. Hi, Daniel. Did you learn anything last weekend with the new Chevy body about racing on the speedways that was different from last year and maybe can help you at Talladega?
Yeah, Chris, great question. You know, a few weeks ago, I was talking to Michael McDowell, and he told me, he said, Daniel, because in super speedway racing, honestly, I felt like I was always on the verge of crashing, you know, when I was with Trackhouse, and I didn't know why was that, but I was always very, very edgy. And having conversation with Michael, he said, man, our cars are extremely good. You're going to be surprised. So going to JBMotorsports over there for the first time in a super speedway, I mean, I had probably one of the best cars I ever had, especially in the draft, getting pushed. So for me, it's a little bit tricky to understand. It is the setup package that Spire has had for a while, because Michael kind of like called it before it happened, or the body, or the combination of both. But regardless of what it is, because I don't really care, the fact is that my cars drove amazing, and I'm super excited for that. And I know that part of that is going to translate to here in Atlanta as well, and obviously to Talladega. So super excited for that.
And speaking of Atlanta, are you still okay with just coming to Atlanta on race weekends and qualifying and not having a practice session?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because I think that even if we were practicing, I don't think that we're gonna really do pack racing anyway. We're gonna try to find some raw speed, so I'm okay with that. I think that it's a little bit tricky that that teams have to travel on Friday for tech when we have to only pretty much go qualify and race, but that's the schedule. Some people don't love it, but it's part of it, I guess.
All right. Any final questions? We're going to wrap, I think, with Chris. All right, Daniel, thank you so much. We appreciate you spending some time with us.
The champ is here. Congrats, Tyler.
Thank you.
Deb Williams, if you can come up, please, too. Good morning. My name is Holly Kane, and I am the new president of the National Motorsports Press Association for 2026. And we are very excited to present to Tyler Reddick the Pocono Spirit Award, which recognizes achievement in the face of adversity, sportsmanship, and contributions to motorsports. And the NMPA membership, which I hope you all are a part of, and if you're not, talk to me or go online. We present 4 quarterly awards, and Tyler Reddick is our third quarter of 2025 award winner, and Deb Williams, who is the past president of the National Motorsports Press Association, is going to hand that to Tyler now after we do a dance. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Tyler, last year during the third quarter, you went through some terrible circumstances that no parent should ever have to go through with Rookie when Rookie was in a life-threatening health situation. But you continued in the playoffs, you won the pole at the Roval, and you proceeded as any champion would. And so in honor of your perseverance and everything that you endured and went through with your family in the third quarter, on behalf of the NMPA and Pocono, I would like to present you with the third quarter NMPA Pocono Spirit Award.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really cool to have this award. But for myself, I think I'm just going to hand this straight to my wife, because honestly, everything that she went through, I was very fortunate that everyone at 2311 was in a spot to where they were comfortable with me being at the hospital during the week with her, with Rookie. But just how rock solid she remained throughout this whole process put me in a great place to be able to, get in the race car with the right mindset and just race with a lot of passion and heart throughout the whole process. So, I mean, my wife, it just, in the face of all that Rookie had going on, all the uncertainty, everything that happened to her, happened to Rookie, that emotionally she was going through as well, to just remain as clear-headed as she did, locked in with the doctors, just the entire process, just she was unwavering throughout the whole thing. So I don't think I would have earned this award if it wasn't for my wife. So honestly, this one's for her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you guys get a photo? Do you want a photo? Did you get a photo? You good? You would? Okay. All right. Everybody good? Wanna do it real fast? Oh, okay. Do it real fast. That way you guys have it. You're good. No, yeah. Let's make sure we grab the photo really fast. That way you guys have that. All right. We are now joined by our 2026 Daytona 500 winner, Tyler Reddick. And Tyler, I don't think you've had the opportunity to sleep much this week. You have been on quite the media tour. You continued that yesterday here in Atlanta as well after being in New York for 2 days. So just tell us a little bit about what this week was like. You did a ton of interviews. I felt like you were everywhere I looked, to be honest.
Yeah,
But congratulations on that, by the way. But just tell us a little bit about what that, going from Sunday night and pulling into Victory Lane and having that Victory Lane experience, and then really what the last 4 days have been for you.
Yeah, I mean, someone could probably walk up to me and said, "We did an interview on Tuesday or yesterday," and be like, "Yeah," because I mean, there's been so many of them. But yeah, it's been really cool. To your point, Not a lot of sleep, but that's okay. It's kind of used to that with, an 8-month-old and the occasional middle of the night wake up from Bo. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think getting to go to these places and do these things, that part is cool. But for me, what I've enjoyed the most is kind of having the opportunity to, whether it was going on First Things First or just a number of the shows, getting to interact with, the analysts or the anchors that didn't know a lot about racing, that were genuinely curious about racing, whether it was because they were intrigued by the finish and how exciting it looked and just chaotic it was, or the number of athletes that were drawn to understand and learn more because they saw Michael in victory lane and he's the owner of the 45 and he won the 500. So I think that for me was probably the part I enjoyed the most, is getting to tell them about Michael, get to tell them about NASCAR and what our world is kind of like above all else. That was probably the part that I enjoyed a lot.
Well, we appreciate you telling others about our sport and the opportunity for you to be able to have all those interviews and just interactions with a variety of people this week. We will go ahead and open for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'm going to work to get to as many people as I can in the time that we have. I'll start with Peter and then go to Kelly.
Right over here, Tyler. Peter Strada with TSJ Sports. You mentioned last week how the Daytona 500 was always appointment viewing for you as a child, that you never missed it. Do you have a race or two from your childhood that sticks out in your memory?
Well, yes, unfortunately it wasn't a good one. Yeah, I feel like one of the first ones I really sat down and watched start to finish was 2001. So I know there's a lot of great Daytona races that I watched, but when you talk about just impactful, that one, yeah, it was a rough day. But there was a lot of other races that I got to watch, but when you're in that sense, the one that was the most impactful was 2001 for sure.
All right, Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Two things, Tyler. First off, is the ring safe? Because
not really.
I think you told, what was it, Dale Jr. last week? It's been through an adventure of flying off your hand.
It's flown off my hand a lot. I didn't wear it in here today because if it starts raining, it just falls off my hand. I figured that out after I left the media center on Sunday. I got to ride back closer to the garage, or I don't know. I think my bus driver Tyler Clark was helping Alexa with something, so. I don't know. I just remember getting back to the garage and opening the door on the rental car, and the ring was just took off. I went chasing it across the asphalt, so that wasn't good. And then of course it fell off when I went to shake Mark's hand on Kelly and Mark. So yeah, it's fallen off a few times, but it's got character and there's stories behind it, so it is what it is at this point.
Secondly, do you look at the winning the Daytona 500, is that the start of the season, or is that its own separate thing, and you come here this weekend and it's okay, now it's the start of the season, we're back to work? How does that win, again, is the win the start of the season, or does the work now begin this weekend?
I feel like in previous, it's a little bit of both. Maybe it just depends if I wreck or if I run good. I just tell myself, that. But, in previous year, or going back a couple years, we would go to Daytona, and then I think, if I'm remembering it right, we just go straight to Fontana. I might be wrong. Maybe I don't remember it very well. But I think when you kind of, in today's schedule, when you have, Daytona and then you come here and it's another Speedway race, it doesn't feel like it's its own thing, because in a lot of ways the mentality you have, if it's in a good place at Daytona, it's very similar to what you want to do here. Yes, it's the runs happen faster and there's more handling in the corners, but just that mindset when you're drafting, I feel like it kind of carries on. And yeah, I think for me, the last 2 years, but I guess those are the 2 races I've finished well. I've said, all right, we got a good finish. We scored some decent points. Let's build on it. I think the years that I crashed out or just didn't have a very good finish, I try to say, okay, well, it's done. It's in the past. So I think I've kind of approached it both ways over the years.
All right, we'll continue with questions. I'm going to come up front to Mike Hembry here, please.
Mike Hembry, NASCAR.com. A lot's been said about what this meant to Michael. Did he share anything kind of one-on-one with you about that day and the win and everything it meant to him?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, in Victory Lane, and yeah, I mean, just for him as an owner, he made it very clear to us, a couple weeks before the season got going, all the leadership got together, drivers and whatnot, and just made sure that we had our goals aligned and everything. And he made it very clear then, and it confirmed it again, Victory Lane, like what he expects of us as an organization. And when we have opportunities like that, it's important for us to get the job done. And for us on the 45, we didn't do that last year, and so to kind of be able to right out of the gate and this year be able to capitalize on it was cool. But yeah, I saw it on the Jordan Brand posts on socials, but the word I heard him say a few times was just clutch. It's cool. He thought it was cool that in the heat of the moment, kind of even as things seemed to kind of get out of sight, then come back into sight, like in the closing laps, that we're able to make the right choices on the final lap and win the race. Just clutch.
Do you imagine that in your lifetime we will have a Daytona 500 where we don't have a big wreck on the last lap?
With this current car, I don't see it. Even like when I had my time in the Gen 6 car, just the runs were big and you could really get all over the back of somebody and push hard. I think, just whether it's the handling or the bubble just kind of getting bigger like it used to be with previous cars, that will have to change for the wreck or a wreck or multiple wrecks not to happen on the last lap. It's just you're able to push pretty much at any point, and I think everybody understands it's not worth the risk pushing the tri-oval early in the race. It's not worth the risk to push if you're not lined up well. And all that just goes out the window on the last lap, because if you check up and don't give the car ahead of you the push, you're just not going to have the momentum. And, I mean, you have the opportunity to win the race or put yourself in position to win, a race or the Daytona 500. So, all the caution that you have just kind of goes out the window in the closing laps. And I think that's why the accidents happen. But if you don't have that aggression, you don't have the momentum, and you're not up there in the mix anyways.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Today. Tyler, you kind of hit on when you first came in just about how much you enjoyed the media tour, but is there a particular moment maybe that stood out the most that you enjoyed if you were to pick one?
I'd say when I've been to Empire State Building once before. I think when we went and did PBR at Madison Square Garden a couple years ago, I got to go check out the Empire State Building. But this time around, we did the 86th floor. We did 102, but they also let me up to 103, which is open to the air. There's a rail. You're just kind of out there in the open air, way up high in New York City. That was really cool. So yeah, just leaning over that rail and seeing how far down it was, and just the city kind of out in front of you. That was really, really cool.
And then looking at this weekend, when you look at the stats, at least since the reconfiguration, Ford, Chevy have kind of dominated at least lap-led totals and the averages, while Toyota's been kind of sporadic in its results. Is there anything to that? And if there is, what is it that you feel like you guys have been missing here since the reconfiguration?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion on that one, I don't feel like, I understand, on a consistent basis, Toyotas haven't won here, but in that one, in my opinion, for my car, my team, 2311, I don't feel like that one really lines up well for me. You know, over the years here, I feel like we've always had a very solid Camry, and I just more times than not, I've kind of messed it up here at the end of the race, whether it's just not being too aggressive or you know, just not being towards the front at the end of the race. But most of the time, I feel like we come here and we have what we need to win. You know, our best shot at it definitely was the last summer race here, and I just didn't make the right choices at the end. So, but I think the lessons I've learned from that, the lessons I've learned from, you know, running the course of the 500 on Sunday, just making adjustments as a driver, we're just in the right direction going forward for races at Atlanta and then Talladega that we'll have.
All right, Steven, go ahead.
Stephen Toronto at Toronto 92 Network. Tyler, after the Champions Breakfast on Monday, I went over to the museum to check out the Daytona 500 car, and you know, when you look at past Daytona 500 winning cars, you'll see that a lot of the crew guys will choose a single area of the car to sign, like the rear bumper or the C-pillar. I looked at your car, and there's signatures all over it. There's signatures on the roof, on the hood, on the jack post, the fuel can. Even some of the 35 guys even came over to sign the rear bumper. I don't know if you can necessarily speak to each individual on the 45 team, but was there anything about that said, you know what, let's do this a little differently. Let's make our own imprint on what's a piece of history now?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately I can't speak on that one at all. I wasn't there. I didn't get to participate. But I was, again, just, you know, I got to see a couple pictures of it, and I just, you know, I don't know where the idea came from or how it started, but I kind of love that they did it the way that they did it. You know, like I said, if there's a signature on the jack post, imagine it's my jackman Brandon Banks. You know, I'm guessing, you know, Dakota and Hunter, you know, signed the respective, you know, front and back of the cars. So, yeah, I wish I could have partaken in that some way, but, you know, there was a lot going on Monday, so I just kind of heard about it like you did.
All right. It is Banks' signature on the jack post, by the way. So
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know who else it would be, right? So, yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try to fit in one more question. Go ahead, and then behind you, I'll try to fit in Chris as well. Go ahead.
Todd Summers, Next Star Media Group. Just looking ahead to next week at COTA, a place you've had a lot of success. You won in 2023. What is it about that track that fits your style that you've been able to finish in the top 5 4 times and just have a lot of success there?
Well, years ago, it was the fact that it had so many big braking zones. When the tires were harder, you could be very aggressive and just push. I don't know. I think now maybe it's just the laps that I have there. You know, I've got to run other races there and win other things there over the years. And so I think maybe at this point it's just, you know, the amount of laps that I have there, just kind of understanding the track. One thing I love about it that adds to the challenge is, I mean, just the track gets so many laps on it throughout the year from all the things that are racing there or things that are just on track, the track days. Like every time we go there, different sections repaved and the grip level's different, and that part of it I really enjoy. But yeah, I think, I don't know, just for me, we're able to qualify really good, and as the year went on, we needed to continue to find long run speed to keep up with Shane, and we've worked really hard on that in the off season, and we're excited to see where we fall in with the gains that it looks like we've made. So I think it's going to be really hard to be much faster than Shane, but hopefully we've just caught up a little bit more.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Tyler. Chris Gollin with Above the Yellow Line Media. I was talking to William Byron on Media Day before the Daytona 500, and he was saying how the Daytona 500 winners press tour, he felt definitely took a bit out of him as far as preparation for the following week. Have you found that to be the case? Do you feel like you've missed out on any prep you would have liked to have had for Atlanta?
No, I don't think so. I feel pretty good about it. You know, fortunately, it just kind of worked out. The one day we had at home, or like the half day I had at home, I don't know. That's what we normally kind of do all of our pre-race stuff. So we're able to cover everything, and like a normal week on that day. Yeah, I haven't been able to. I haven't made a post-race meeting yet this year. There's a number of things that have been out of sorts, if you will. But yeah, for the most part, it was a normal week on the prep side, so I think I'll be good.
Thanks, Tyler.
Welcome.
All right, Tyler. Thank you again for all your efforts this week and your time this morning. We'll go ahead and bring up Chase Elliott. All right, we've now been joined by Chase, a guy who really does not need any introduction here in Georgia. But Chase, a home race for you, a little bit different from the other guys, obviously in the garage, but you took home the trophy last summer here as well. Just tell us a little bit about, what Echo Park Speedway means to you, but just the opportunity to probably drive in your car to come here versus having to have additional travel.
Yeah, for sure. It's I say it all the time, but I enjoy coming down here. Glad we have 2 races. I think just the vibe is it's really good. I think a lot of energy is back with the track since they did the reconfig, and just just talking to a lot of people from around the area. I think they really enjoy coming down here now and camping out and having a lot of fun, especially for the night race. So I know it's going to be a little cooler than we'd like tomorrow, but still I think it'll be a good race. And yeah, it is nice to have the option to go home, and still got to deal with the Atlanta traffic, but that's okay and worth it. So hopefully we get our stuff in today, but it looks like at least no rain tomorrow, so that's a plus. And I always enjoy being here, and hopefully it's a good weekend for us.
All right, we'll go ahead and open for questions. I'm going to work to get to as many of you guys as I can. We'll start up front with Zach and then make our way to the back.
Zach Cerniolo, NASCAR.com. Chase, the 9 team can win anywhere, but particularly on the super speedways, as they've gone for you lately, being in the mix for the win last week and winning here last time out. Where do you feel like you come in here confidence-wise that you guys are capable of doing that again?
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I don't. It's like I said, a lot going into last week, and it's large in part for just being at HMS and the boss's commitment to wanting to win, right? And that leadership trickles down all the way throughout the entire company. And from my perspective, and any race car driver, no different than when I drove through the tunnel last week. I felt like we had a shot to win. I felt the same way, driving through the tunnel here today. So always grateful for that. It's that this stuff, narratives can change quick. You can have a bad week, and next thing you know, you can come back and have a good week. But just having those opportunities week in, week out are really important to me, and I'm really appreciative of that. So from my standpoint, yeah, it's just we show up. I know we have a great team and the right prep and the right people on the job, and know that if I come in and do my part to the ability that I feel like I can, I know we can go out here and have a shot, and that's really all there is to it. So my confidence in our whole group maintains at a high level each week, and whether we're coming off a bad week or coming off a good week, I know that we can get ourselves in the right position to go succeed.
All right, go ahead.
Hey Chase, Chris Collin with Above the Yellow Line Media. I wanted to check in. How are you feeling physically after that hit at the end of the Daytona 500? But also, how are you feeling, emotionally processing how close you came, just on both those fronts?
Yeah, definitely. Just a huge bummer for sure. Obviously the crashing like that's never fun. Don't get me wrong, but it, more just processing how close you were and we were as a team to winning, and that can be a challenging thing. I guess both fortunately and unfortunately throughout my career I have experienced other losses like that. Maybe not at Daytona, but certainly close calls. And I think you do this stuff long enough and you just understand that it's never over till it's over, and hindsight's always 20/20. You look back at the end of that race and run through things that you could have done differently, and certainly, wish I had, right? But when you're in those moments, you get faced with decision-making time, and it happens really quick. And unfortunately, it didn't work out in our favor. So, just hope we get another chance, at some point down the road. That's a really tough race to just be in a position for, and we kind of found ourselves in a spot to have a shot. So hopefully we get another chance, at some point and down the road.
Is there any soreness physically from that hit?
No, I feel good. Yep. Thanks.
Good to hear. Thanks, Chase.
You bet.
All right. Go ahead. Yep. Thank you.
Blake Smith, WVJS Radio. Chase, last week was the debut of the new updated package for the Chevy Z01. Any changes you could really tell in the draft as part of the 500 week that you can use to translate to Atlanta this weekend?
Yeah, I thought we had a really good week all the way up to the 500. From a balance standpoint, throughout the big race last week, I thought there were some things that we could improve upon. So certainly, I think we challenged all of our guys to try and find a little bit that we could to make some of those things better for this week. But there were some high spots. I thought our cars received and also did pushing. Whichever side of that scenario you were on, whether you were getting pushed or doing the pushing, I thought that we did a better job of that more efficiently. Which has been an area of emphasis that we wanted to improve with this new body change. So I thought we did that well, and I think from now it's just like, okay, how do we fine tune our balances and get everything exactly like we want? And as a race car driver, you get done with those races and you're always going to find something to complain about, but and some of it probably isn't even attainable. But I think the more that I lean on those guys and challenge them and say, hey, these are my wish list items, you never know, you might, unless you say something, that's the only way to get better. So hopefully we can continue to process all those small details and just make it a bit better, which I think we will.
Looking ahead to Phoenix in a couple of weeks, NASCAR and IndyCar both at the same track on the same weekend. It's happened before back at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What do you think that does for the sport, for motorsports all around the world?
Yeah, it's a good question. I honestly don't know until we go experience it. I don't think I've ever shared a weekend with IndyCar. Maybe you guys might correct me on that. Oh, at the road course? Okay. Outside of that, so maybe that once, but I mean, I didn't think it didn't change a ton back then, so I don't know that it's going to change a lot now, but certainly could be a good opportunity for fans to go out and experience both series if they're a fan of both. I think a lot of times you have people that are interested in one thing, you're interested in the other. So if you have the core fan group that likes them both and find it on one weekend, I think that's a really good thing. From my perspective, it's we're so separate from those guys. Like, I know Penske Bunch, they have an IndyCar team, so I could kind of see that being really cool for them because they could go watch their teammates that I'm sure they share meetings and stuff with. But like, for us, I don't really have direct contact to the IndyCar world, so we're pretty disconnected. So it probably just depends on who you talk to, or who you ask.
Thank you. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to come up front to get Mike Kimbry and then end with Deb Williams. Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to cut it short with the bullpen opening. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Embry, NASCAR.com. The fuel saving and the big pack at Daytona, considering the dynamics of all that, is there any kind of scenario where 2 or 3 or 4 cars could attempt to pull away from that and start their own little group up front, or is that just not a possibility?
Not possible, because you're relative to the people around you when you're doing that. So if one group strikes out and they're making a bunch of pace, well, you're just giving a free tow to the people behind. So it with us drafting in the manner that we are at these places, you either have good track position and probably not so good fuel, or if you don't have good track position, you're really good on fuel, but you just don't want to. You don't want to have. You don't want to be in the back of the pack and be bad and have a long pit stop, right? So if you are going to be on the worst side of the fuel situation, then you certainly want to have some track position to go with that. It's really tough when you get yourself in that middle ground, because it becomes hard to get out of it. You kind of find yourself in this situation where it's like, well, I need to save because we want to shorten our pit stop, but then you saving so aggressively, you're not going to go anywhere on track. And then sometimes, like last week, we got three wide there, and everybody's running part throttle, and there was nowhere to go. And I think that's the challenge of just positioning yourself and being being really diligent, executing those cycles well. But no, to answer your question, I just don't see that being a possibility. I mean, a group could go do that, but they're putting themselves at a disadvantage by it, and everyone knows that.
Since the reconfiguration, this track has been grouped in with Daytona and Talladega as a drafting track. But does it feel kind of the same racing here as at Daytona and Talladega, or is it its own animal?
There are a lot of similarities. I feel like it's just kind of a mini speedway. Like everything happens a little quicker. The runs are really aggressive. The straightaways being short like they are, it just seems like things happen fast. Like everything is just kind of in double time from speedways. But on the flip side of that, you have less straightaway to build runs, so sometimes the runs aren't as big as what they would be at Daytona. But again, like the summer race here last year, I mean, the runs were so big you couldn't hardly block them, and that was why nobody could hold the lead for more than just a lap or two. So I don't know if that had something to do with it being night and the track being really gripped up. If the sun comes out, does that impact it a little differently? I'm not sure. And then obviously, another 6 months of age on the racetrack, what does that play into kind of the whole situation? So I think it's always a little bit of a moving target, and we'll just have to get started and assess what that is this time.
All right, we'll go to Deb for our final question.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. Chase, I kind of want to build on what you were talking about a while ago with the new package. When we talked with you in Daytona about it, you had run the qualifying race, but that was half the field. So when you got into a full 40-car field on Sunday, did it react the same, or what? Were there any differences? What were the advantages to it? Did you find when you got into the full field?
The 150s always just have a totally different feel than the big race does, and I think a lot of that probably is because of the full field being there, and just the energy in the pack is always higher, at least after we get done saving fuel, and you kind of start racing. When that first group pulls off, it really does get racy, and then at that point, the energy level is just really high. But I think the biggest factor that was different from the 150s to the 500 was, we had, I think, probably about the warmest day of the week we had, down there last week on Sunday. The sun was out, and all those scenarios. I think the track grip level was truthfully just lower than it had been really throughout the whole week, certainly in a racing scenarios, comparing to Thursday night. So, lanes started to become really important, like lane choices in the race, and I think you guys saw how bad some of us were struggling on the bottom, off of 4 in particular. That's just a really treacherous spot to be. So it's fun, though, because Daytona's finally getting some age and some character, and it's hard to sit there and run 3 wide or, really be pushing pace and doing that at the same time. So it's changing for sure, and really curious where it goes, and certainly those daytime races down there are always a little tougher than the rest.
But did the new Chevrolet package work as well in the full car field? Were you pleased with it, the way it worked?
It was very, very much as we were expecting, and a lot of similarities from Thursday night. Like I said, I thought the pushing and the getting pushed side of things was a huge improvement for us, and I think from there it's just fine-tuning our balance and getting that dialed in exactly like we want. But yes, I do think there was some big positives for us.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Chase, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
We wish you the best of luck this weekend. We are, according to Bob.
If I can have your attention here in the media center, we are Joined now by the winner of the Freight Racing 208 here at Echo Park Speedway, Kyle Busch, driver of the number 7 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. Kyle, you've won a lot of these over the years, but today you had to not only race the field but race the clock there at the end. How unique was this win for you?
Yeah, definitely different than normal, but our guys did the calculations to convert it for us, so it sort of made it the same for me from behind the wheel. They took the time and figured out how many laps, and they were giving me the countdown: 5 to go, 3 to go, 2 to go, and then they weren't real sure because they hadn't heard the same countdown from NASCAR, and then we were going into 1, they said 1 to go, or coming back for the white, so they were right on the money there. But yeah, great job by everybody at Spire Motorsports. Appreciate Brian and his attention to detail and the things that he's all about, and then appreciate HendrickCars.com as well too for making that Silverado look real pretty and even better in Victory Lane.
Okay, we're going to open the floor up for questions. Do you have a question? Raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start here at Bob and go to Zach.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Are you aware in those final 5 minutes that if the caution comes out, the race is pretty much over because there's no overtime or anything in that situation? And if so, do you think that made things more dicey at the end?
Yeah, I mean, I was told, they said, next flag is pretty much going to end it. So we were trying to keep the lead, and you're going to do that in the last 10 laps, 15 laps, even 20 laps of the race anyways, because you want to control the race. You want to control that lane. Early in the race, when you're in the first stage and you get guys that get runs, you can let them kind of go in front of you, cycle around, let it race out a little bit. But there at the end, the bottom lane, whenever it would kind of start inching ahead, you get down there, you side draft them, you pull them back, and you just want to make sure that you're the first truck on the outside.
And, Carson's kind of been in the mix at the end of the last few, last week in Daytona and Truck and Cup, and then here, just kind of what was like working with him, and had you discussed much about how to handle things near the end?
We hadn't talked at all, really. So we, in the beginning of the race there, the first stage of the race, he kind of hung me out a couple times, and I was like, okay, here we go. Great teammate I got today. And then in stage 2, there was a chance there where Hocevar was in front of me, and he started kind of playing the air a little bit, and I was kind of like, okay, this is good. I'm impressed. I got you. And I pushed him, and we made our way. We started ratcheting ourselves back forward, so that was really good, being teammates. And then there at the end, he was back to being my wingman and, keeping us in pace to control the lane and in pace to win the race.
Go next to Zach, then to Holly, then to Chris.
Zach Sterniolo of NASCAR.com. Bob kind of took the question, but in terms of how does working with Carson today and him staying loyal to you, does that impact anything when you're trying to draft together in the Cup race, or is that completely unique to itself?
It's going to be unique, obviously, right? I'm not a Spire Motorsports guy on Sunday, so I'm sure that'll play some differences. But it was nice to see that he's got it in him, right? Where in the beginning of the race, it was kind of normal Carson, all over the place. Not all over the place, out of control, just dicing it up, right? Cutting moves and making plays like I probably once was. But, and then in the second stage, I was able to kind of be his wingman for a minute. That worked real well for it. And I kind of wanted to say something like, see, when you got a guy that'll stick behind you, you can make some headway. But I kept my mouth shut. I just said it now. And then at the end of the race, that's sort of how we played it, where I guess I had the track position, and so he had to play wingman for the day. So that roles reversed. I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to make sure that one of our trucks wins.
We'll go to Holly, then to Chris, and then to Tim.
Congratulations, Kyle. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. When you are racing here, do you kind of just know that you're going to be able to pull it out? I mean, you have won so much in these truck races, and again today are there when you need to be. I mean, what is the confidence level for you like?
It was dipping. If there was a confidence meter on me, the start of the race was at 100, and then as we getting through the second stage, it was down to about 40. Just because of, it seemed like everybody had talked, and they're like, nobody's helping Kyle today. Because every time I pull out a lane and look for 2 or 3 to come with me, to go with me in order to get back up to the front, not one of them ever, came to my rear bumper to kind of push there. Middle of the race, Hocevar did once, and then he kind of tucked back in line and went around me. That's when I faded the worst. But that's when I got back around behind him, and then we were able to ratchet our way forward. So it just seemed like in the beginning and the middle part of the race, I was having a tough time making the moves that I remember being able to make last year by myself and getting my way further up towards the front. where, today it was harder to do that.
Go to Chris, then to Tim, then to Jordan.
Hey, Kyle. I'm Chris Gollin with Above the Yellow Line Media. First of all, congratulations. What was your reaction when you saw Carson join with the burnout there, it being the Spire 1-2 finish?
Yeah, I was doing my burnout, and as I spun around, I saw him hanging out over there, so I was trying to position myself to kind of go his way, and he just wanted to give a high five, so we kind of did it as I was rolling on by, smoking the tires. So that was cool. Great of him to come out there. I mean, he deserved it. He was the reason we won the race today, right? And so nice to kind of celebrate a little bit together and have him out there for that moment of victory.
Thanks, Kyle. Congrats.
Thank you.
Go next to Tim Packman.
Kyle, Tim Packman, HeavySports.com. You answered the host of our part, the battle back and forth with Stuart Friesen, because you guys were dicing back and forth there until he faded, but you had to look over a couple times and back and forth. Just comment on that if you could.
Yeah, it was similar to last year. I don't know how that inside lane stayed there as long as it did from that final restart. I was expecting it to deteriorate and go away, and the way my spotter was explaining it to me, I was like, how is he still next to me? Where do the other trucks keep coming from that keep supporting him and pushing him forward? Because I only heard there was 2 or 3 down there or whatever, but I just kept having to play the side draft and through the corners and stay tight on him to pull him back, and then on the straightaways get the push from Carson to kind of get our row going and further ahead and getting the speed up. But yeah, he hung on a lot longer than I expected. Similar to last year, though, it was between him and I coming down to the checkered and who was going to win that race with the drag race to the finish out of turn 4. But just in the perfect nick of time, I got that big push down the back and got singled out and didn't have to deal with anybody for the finish there coming out of 4. So I felt like the race was won, about halfway down the backstretch.
Okay, we're going to go to Jordan, then to Tim Moore, and then we'll wrap with Zach.
Jordan Bianchi, Athletic. Maybe this was the moment. Was that the moment going into 3 where you just seemed like almost hit the turbo button and blew by those guys? You held it down through turn 3. You know what I'm talking about there at the end?
The last lap?
Was it maybe the last lap or the last 2 laps? It just looked like you just.
Well,
right
I was the inside row was getting a good push down the backstretch, and then as the outside row, as the guy controlling the outside lane, you got to get down there and stay tight to those guys and drag them back. And the 52 Friesen got really close of getting clear on me a couple times there, and I was just waiting on the push from behind. I know Hocevar was hot, so he was probably not able to just get the run developed in order to get to me to push me, or was trying to keep his truck as cool as he could keep it. But the way it kind of worked out, I was nervous a couple times that Friesen almost cleared me, but we made it work.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Day. Kyle, I want to go back to earlier in the race in stage 1. Were you kind of surprised that the field strung out to a 3-truck pack? And also, what was your mindset once you guys got into lap traffic? I know that brought the pack together, but things got a little chaotic.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that. I feel like that's what this place is going to be like eventually when it wears out a little bit more and handling becomes more of the paramount for guys to drive good, to be able to keep the pedal down. Those guys up front, those Fords that were there, the 99, is it the 99? Yeah, the 99, the 88, the 98, I guess was one of them. I don't know. The 99 especially, when he about wrecked me out of 4, if he didn't have the lead, he was going to be falling back because he was getting out of the gas and he was washing up and using a whole hell of a lot more racetrack, and he was the leader. So I felt good where I was at. Like, I wasn't really needing to use that much racetrack, and I was 3rd or 4th in line. And so I felt like if I ever could have gotten to the lead and just been out front, I would have been able to hold it wide open and been good. So we had good speed and good handling. So kudos to my team and Brian Patty.
And you correct me if I'm wrong. I believe now this is 3 years in a row you've won this race in particular here in February. So what is it about this race that just keeps on bringing you back here at Atlanta or Echo Park?
I get told which ones I got to run. So I don't choose it. Trust me, I don't choose it, but it chooses me. So it's, I'll take it when I can get it. So, having an opportunity to run 8 races this year for Spire, I'm looking forward to that. I thank HendrickCars.com for being a part of our program today and helping us have some pretty colors on the truck, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't even know where the heck it's at, but maybe Bob knows. Good call. No? Bristol? All right, good job, G. Bristol. I'll be back at Bristol.
We'll wrap up here with Zach.
Kyle, First win in NASCAR in the last year for a guy who at one point was just kind of automatic over the years. How has that changed your perspective or appreciation maybe for these opportunities to get back to victory lane?
I mean, it makes it sweeter. G comes up to me in victory lane and he's like, yeah. I was like, you want a photo? He goes, yeah, I'll take a photo. You know, it's been 14 years. Might as well get another one. We don't have enough, right? And I said, well, you never know when the last one is, so you better frickin' get one today, okay? And I mean, that's true, honest truth. I think I said that for years, even when I was clipping them off at 25 at a time. You just never know when the last one's going to be. So hopefully we haven't seen the last one on Sunday. I'd love to do it again tomorrow and, you know, bring home the Cheddar Chevrolet in victory lane and feed America on Monday. Free Cheddars, Monday. Let's win it, Sunday.
Well, congratulations,
All right,
and good luck feeding America tomorrow.
That's done. You done? Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. Yep.
All right, we are going to go ahead and start with our post-race winner for today's NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race here at Echo Park Speedway, and that is Sheldon Creed. Sheldon, congratulations. This has been a long time coming for you. I feel like, I'm sure you know this as well as anybody, you have finished second more times than you care to count, but you finally got to drive into victory lane today. Just tell us a little bit of like what you're thinking right now and what it really felt like to take that checkered flag there at the end.
Well, I don't have to finish second again before winning. So, yeah, like you said, just been 4 years of trying, 137 starts, 15 second place finishes. Yeah, wears on you because you win a truck championship and win, 8 truck races and have a shot at winning truck races every week, and then go Xfinity racing and kind of expect yourself to succeed right away. And yeah, obviously had a lot of good runs, but just never finished it off, never won. So to finally do that and kind of looked like another second or third place run there coming off a 2, and yeah, just it all worked out for us tonight.
All right, we'll go ahead and go to questions. I know that we have several here. I'm going to start with Holly and then go to Jordan. Holly, go ahead if you can raise your hand. There we go. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sheldon. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. So right now, are you feeling like super happy, ready to celebrate, or a bigger sense of relief at this point?
Yes, both. Yeah, just kind of like I touched on, it just wears on you to not win, and it takes a lot of people to do it. Sponsors, I'm fortunate to have the family I do that supports me and really has made it to where I could keep racing. And yeah, I feel like that was coming to an end probably, or had the shot of it if I didn't win. And I don't think one win's going to change a whole lot, but I think a few might. And might get back on the radar for Cup, maybe. Would love that. Obviously, I want to race on Sundays for a long time, but you have to win, and winning helps. So to get one out of the way early in the season is great. But yeah, need to win more if I want a future here.
All right, Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. So when you found out you won the race, you take the checkered flag, what was the first thought through your mind?
I started yelling at like the tri-oval once I looked in my mirror and kind of seeing that no one was coming with a run. I don't even know if I was listening to what my spotter was saying. Once I kind of knew that they weren't going to get to me, I just started yelling, and that's why my voice is still gone. But yeah, just finally win and just relief. I put a lot of pressure on myself to win, and I think everyone does. But yeah, just not being a winner sucks. And yeah, to finally do it just feels incredible. And it's been 4 years since I've stood in victory lane at a NASCAR race. So more than that, 4.5 years really. So yeah, to finally do it, yeah, you miss that feeling, and that's why you keep working at it, because you just want to keep winning and having that feeling again.
Was there times that you doubted yourself and thought this wasn't going to happen?
100%. Yeah, definitely. I've thought, every year, like, man, am I not good enough? And then you have your good runs that kind of bring your spirits back. But yeah, do I need to go run equipment? Or I wouldn't be a good office job guy, but racing race cars is just, it's an incredible way to make a living. And I don't want to go run equipment. I want to keep working hard at this and keep winning. And but yeah, to answer your question, 100%, the confidence got killed the last 4 years. And I would say working back with Josh Wise again, that's helped a lot to start this season. And yeah, just getting to work with a bunch of those guys that are, throughout all the series. There's a bunch of talent in there, and we go head-to-head a lot. So, knowing that you can beat them at certain things gives you confidence. And, yeah, just try to really work on that to start this season, is believing that I could do it again.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
Matt Weaver, Motorsport. You've been asked this a lot, some variation of this over the last 4.5 years, but, I'm curious if winning now kind of changes the perspective you have on it, but why did it take so long?
There's a lot of reasons, right? I lost races being dumb and aggressive. I lost races because the caution came out. Almost won races for those reasons too, right? So, yeah, Lauren Ranier told me a long time ago, 6 or 7 years ago, that smart race car drivers win races. And yeah, you try to balance the difference between being smart and aggressive. Sometimes it's hard to balance the two. But yeah, just, I don't know, working hard and keep showing up.
When you're standing on the front stretch, I think that was one of the loudest victory reactions that fans have given someone in a while. Between that and practically everyone on pit road had very complimentary things about you, and they know what this means. Hearing the things you're going to hear from your peers and also from the fans, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it feels good. It's special. I feel like I'm not the class clown of the series, but I joke around with everyone, and yeah, I just like to have fun with everyone, and I feel like I show a lot of respect to everyone on the track and off the track. And obviously we all have our run-ins, but I try to race really clean, and I think that shows in return. Get a win, and then yeah, I think everyone's seen how close I've been and how hard I've worked at it and kept showing up. And yeah, it feels good to definitely have that respect from your peers, and to hear the crowd was awesome. It's better than booze, right? So yeah, to see everyone kind of stick around and wait for me to get out of the car. Some races everyone's on their way out already. So I maybe kind of figured, just because when we go do autographs and everything, just what people say, and I knew the first one would be big. Thanks.
All right, if I can get a microphone up to Zach, please.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Sheldon, what's the range of emotions from turn 2 when you said it that you felt like you were kind of resigning yourself to second or third place run there. What's that range of emotions from that corner to coming through turn 4 then?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes back to learning from experience. I felt like I was in a good spot at 4 to go, and then I got put 3 middle, and then I fell to like 5th or 6th. And normally I would take that next big run and get myself bottom and maybe get to 3rd and then fall. And I just told myself, I'm like, we've got time here. Might not seem like a lot, but I'm just going to shove whoever's in front of me as hard as I can. They're going to do something, right? Because everyone wants to be second when the light comes out, if you're not the leader. The leader's a safe spot, too, if we all crash right away. So everyone was kind of fighting for that, and I was able to get back top of 3, got back to 3rd, didn't have a great run down the front stretch. Ross did a really good job of like parking it off at 2 and I had a big run. I went pretty high through 1 and 2, and yeah, that just allowed me to push him. If I turn left on Ross, we stall each other out the 21 wins, like easy win probably. So I was like, I've seen this kind of play in Cup and other series. I'm gonna push him as hard as I can to maybe get them side by side. My plan was to run lane 2 and 3 and 4 no matter what, like, because I had a big run. Yeah, and then I kind of seen them block and run into each other and seen them sideways and thought, no way. Like, the seas are parting, and my initial thought then was, how close are they out back, and do they have a run? And then by the time I got off of 4, I seen that they didn't, and I just started screaming. So my voice is gone still.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Tim, we're Motorsports Day. Congrats on the win, Sheldon.
Thank you.
What would the Sheldon Creed of present in this moment be telling the Sheldon Creed of 10 years ago that was making the jump from Stadium Super Trucks to the Craftsman Truck Series?
Oh, good question. I don't know. When and there's so many of us that you grow up racing, doing what you're doing, and when you win a lot as a kid, you kind of expect that out of yourself to keep winning. And when I first got to ARCA, I had a pretty big learning curve and won a few. Got to trucks, same thing. Got to Xfinity and had, just way more to learn. So yeah, if I would say that 10 years ago to myself or anyone coming up is, just work hard and keep being patient. You know, it's not how I drew it up, right? I drew up to win my first year in the series. So, yeah, definitely probably 37 too many starts to finally win one. We're at 137. But, not everyone's... I wish I could have a Connor Zillage story, right, where you come in and dominate. So, it's just not my story, and keep working hard.
And based off your emotion, I have a good guess, but would this rank higher than your championship in a truck series, like moment-wise for you, considering how long it took?
Nah, I don't know about that. This is massive just because it's been so long. But a truck championship's pretty darn cool, and and I'll remember that forever, and I'll always be a truck champion. So I would say this is close, though. It's close.
All right, we're going to go to Chris in the back and then up to Chris here in the middle.
Hey, Sheldon. Chris Gollin with Above the Yellow Line Media. So first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now that the monkey is off your back, or whatever the saying is, and you have that first career race win, what do you think are the realistic expectations for the 00 this team now that you've proven you can win? With that having been done, what do you want the rest of the season to look like?
I think a lot of excess. I know Joe Custer and Gene Haas expect us to win, and and have a shot at winning the championship at the end of the year. But yeah, that starts now, and tonight, helps get some win in the sales for the team, some momentum. But yeah, just winning more races throughout the season. Obviously a new points format, so consistency is going to pay dividends, and stage points are really important now, and yeah, it just makes being consistent and running up front most weeks more important. Last year I could win this one and go run 20th the next 5 weeks. Doesn't matter, right? I'm in. So yeah, just gonna keep plugging away, keep working hard, keep trying to bring fast race cars and scoring as many points as we can every week.
Thanks, Sheldon.
Thanks.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
Chris on catchruns.com. Congrats, Sheldon. Sam Mayer destroyed his race car. Coming to congratulate you post race.
Did he?
Yeah.
When?
When he tried to go back to pit road during the grass, he got in the grass and it launched and
because
destroyed.
Didn't he bump me coming? He did something.
Yeah, but he destroyed it worse.
I don't even remember.
He destroyed it worse when he was going back to pit road and just totally destroyed the front end. But anyway, can you talk about your relationship with Sam and how much it meant to you that he came in and tracked you down after the checker flag?
Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of cars did. Worked with Sam, at GMS years ago, and it's crazy to think I don't feel old, 28, and he's, what is he, 23? Is that right? So I'm 5 years older than him, and we are in way different versions of life. I'm married with 2 kids. He is not married with 2 kids. So yeah, we're quite a bit different. We're from opposite ends of the country. But he's simple. He's pretty easy. We were at breakfast this morning together, just us 2. So we get along really well. We give each other shit when we do dumb stuff. Like I was giving him a hard time on Monday about last week. But I feel like we listen to each other, and that goes a long way, and work well together. Obviously, he got that damage early on, but maybe it would have been a little easier through the stages if he didn't have that. And I felt like I was fending for myself at times. But no, long story short, we get along really good, and he's honestly a great teammate. Oh yeah, let me see this. Oh, you got it right here. Oh. See, what's tough, right? The Cup car doesn't have splitters anymore, so they can just rip through the grass at 180, where he probably thought he was going slow enough to where it wouldn't grab, but we almost touched the ground. So yeah, he probably didn't expect that either. That's pretty funny though. I'm not gonna lie. That it's probably a bad thing. Now they're gonna tear it apart and make that thing better. They're gonna have time to work on it now.
All right. Do we have any questions in the press box?
What is the press box?
It's actually on the other side of the track. So people, media members can go over there and watch the race and then come back. But I just wasn't sure if we had anybody up there. So sounds like there is no one in the press box. Okay, any final questions for Sheldon before we wrap? Okay, we'll end here with Deb.
Deb Williams, Auto Week, congratulations. You mentioned that the last 4 years had destroyed your confidence, but this year you're getting back to Chevrolet. You can go back to Josh Wise, and you said he helped you. How did Josh Wise help you get now to a better place or get to this point?
Oh, I mean, Josh is just incredible. He's got the best program in the sport by far. I've obviously did my little manufacturer tour and got to work with all of them. Certain manufacturers offer good programs, and with Chevrolet, Josh Wise is the best by far, and we have a great group in there with Scott Speed, Dan Stratton, Danny Stratton and Dan Jansen. Yeah, and all of them were successful in life and in racing, and obviously Dan Jansen's a gold medalist in Olympics. So yeah, just a great environment, and sitting down with Josh and just talking to him. And I touched on it earlier, like there's 25 of us that are all in there all through the week, and it's like cutthroat in there. Like we're all competitive. We get on the iRacing or there's some hand-eye coordination stuff, and it's a competition in all of it. So you just start getting small wins in there, and yeah, that builds the confidence. And then yeah, just stop telling myself I was a loser and could do this.
So he helped you psychologically?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Sheldon. Congratulations again on that win. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
And we wish you the best of luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jay Pennell. I'm the communications specialist for the Kyle Petty Charity Ride. On Thursday, we announced the official route and overnight stops for the 30th anniversary Kyle Petty Charity Ride. We will start on May 1st in Sonoma, California, and we'll have 150 motorcycles travel 3,400 miles across 11 states in 9 days, ending at Charlotte, North Carolina on May 9th after we make a trip to Victory Junction. The ride will celebrate America's 250th anniversary by hitting Highway 50 and Route 60, the original Route 66, which are both celebrating 100th anniversary. We will stop at the original Bass Pro Shops. We will tour Elvis's home and museum in Graceland. We will tour the Coker Museum and Wheels Through Time in Maggie Valley. And we'll also go through, we also ride the Dragon in the Appalachian Mountains. Since 1995, more than 9,575 riders have logged 13.3 million cumulative motorcycle miles and raised more than $23 million for Victory Junction and other charities. Kyle, just talk about what it means to be celebrating 30 years of the Kyle Petty Charity Ride, and then how we went about selecting these routes.
Yeah, and thank you guys for letting us come in here this morning to do this. It's crazy because in 1995 we started the charity ride, and there were I tell people all the time, there's about 35 of us, and we took off across country. We'd run Sonoma, we went south through Huntington Beach and over to Vegas and down and around, and it's hard to believe because we did it those first couple of years and we thought, man, it's never going to get any better than this, and we almost quit in the third year. And we said, let's get to 5. And once we got to 5, we got to 10 and then 15. And here we are 30 years later. And it's hard to believe because the Grand National scene was there on the very first ride and went with us. And they were a part of it and a huge part of getting the word out to fans and what we were doing. This year we decided in our 30th year, just the way things have worked out, he mentioned America 250. Who as partners with, they've partnered with Coca-Cola, with Dodge, and they are partners with us and have been partners with the charity ride for 30 years, those two companies. And it's the 100th anniversary of Highway 50, the loneliest road in America, which is my favorite highway in America. Route 66, we're going to ride part of that. It's their 100th anniversary, but we chose this route because this duplicates some of that first year. We're leaving from Sonoma. We're coming back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. That first year, for some of the people that were around Charlotte, we came back to Sandwich Construction Company, which was right there at the Speedway, and that was a big deal for us. And that's where we ended, in the parking lot there. But we're going through Ely, Nevada. We're going through Moab and Colorado Springs, Wichita, down through Tulsa and over to Springfield, to Johnny Morris's, to Bass Pro Shop. We're going up to Memphis. I'm taking the King to the Kings, to Graceland there. We're going there, and then we'll go over to Chattanooga, to the Coker Museum, and then ride the Dragon, Asheville, back through camp, and then back to Charlotte, to the Speedway there, and we end at 10/10. So we're really excited to start at Sonoma, at that racetrack, at the club, what is that, turn 11? We're starting at turn 11 at the club there, and we're ending at 10/10 in Charlotte. So we're excited about the ride this year, more excited than I've been in a long time. 30 years, it's hard to believe that we started this thing, and all that we really wanted to do was ride motorcycles from California and North Carolina. Me and Harry Gant and Robin Pemberton and Don Tilley and Click Ball and a few of us. That was our main goal that year, was to get back to North Carolina, because something we had always wanted to do. When Adam's accident happened and camp come along, it gave us a focus and it gave us a purpose. And camp has touched almost 150,000 kids and family in the 22 years that it's been open. And this is the largest supporter. The Kyle Petty Charity Ride is the largest continual donor to the ride. So we are pumped. I'm going to say one thing. In the 30 years that we've ridden, and I wanted to throw this out, in the 30 years that we've ridden, these are some of the riders that we've had. We've had my dad, David Pearson, Terry Labonte, Ray Evernham, Robert Yates, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Herschel McGriff, Donnie Allison, and Harry Gant. We've had 10 Hall of Famers who have ridden with us, and 2 Landmark Award winners, Mike Helton and Jim France. So this ride represents and has always represented NASCAR, and these guys could tell you, to a lot of places that NASCAR never went 30 years ago, never touched 30 years ago. Out in the middle of Nevada, out in the middle of Montana, out in the middle of New Mexico, out in the Midwest, that we never touched. We took the sport there, and along with that, we brought them back to here, brought them back east to the camp and to the sport, and that's what the charity ride's done. It's been a fascinating thing. Can't believe it's gone 30 years, but it's been cool. And thank you guys for all that you've helped to make it happen.
For Richard, what has it meant to see Kyle continue to build his legacy off the track, through the charity ride, and through Victory Junction?
Did you hear him? You know, I went on the very first ride. I've been fortunate enough to be able to be part of the ride from the time it started. And, you know, just to give you the beginning, when we rode across country, everybody was a lot younger, and so everybody rode motorcycles. So, you know, 500 or 600, 700 miles was no big deal. And as we got older, Kyle got to thinking about it. Everybody got older and said, let's don't go quite as far. So now we used to ride by big monuments and stuff and wave at them. Now we got a chance to stop. So I think over the period of years it's changed so much. But the big deal, the whole deal was always about taking care of different kids and stuff along the way. To begin with, we used to stop at hospitals and give children's hospitals, give them a little bit of money. Then when the camp came along, like Kyle said, then our focus went completely to the camp. But to be able to go and see all the people that rides from year to year and stuff, but to see the people come out, it just really makes you feel good that they know about the camp, they know about NASCAR, they know about some of the riders. So the big deal is, like Kyle says, we're hopefully spreading a lot of goodwill, and the people seem to think that it works pretty good. You'll go through some of these little towns that maybe hold 500 people. There'll be 1,500 people waiting for us when we get there. So it makes us feel good that we're doing something that other people enjoy, and that as they come in, they help donate monies and they spread the word. So overall, it's been really, really good. And this is our 30th year. We've got a special deal. I'm gonna wear this hat, and you know, at the end of the deal, we'll auction the thing off. So, you know, there's always something at the end of the deal. So me giving away the hat and somebody, doing some deals to make a little bit more money for the camp. And that's, again, basic, because that's what all this is about.
And Mike, you were part of that original group in 1995 that went on the ride. What was that experience like, and what made you want to come back for the 30th ride this year?
Well, we could spend all day talking about stories from the ride, but I think if you're a motorcycle enthusiast, or even early on, you didn't have to be. You wanted to be part of this crowd, because the adventure on a motorcycle is just like watching a race unfold. The character of everything is just so incredible. And then you put the characters on the bikes and you do the tour with them. I remember we left Sonoma, and then Dick Brooks had to show me how to use a California fuel pump, because they had those stop fuel pumps out there, and I had no idea how to get gas in my bike. But Brooks, being from California, he knew how to do it, so he made fun of me the rest of the trip. But to Richard's point, the amazing thing, I think, from my perspective originally, was the fun of the people you were with, but somehow or another, people along the ride figured out what was going on. And this was in 1995, and we were, as they said, some very rural areas. But people figured out the ride and the schedule, and they were standing over bridges. They were at different intersections, and the support just was incredible. And it was, yes, for the benevolent side of it, but it was a good moment, like NASCAR does so often, I think, from the garage area, of doing something different than racing that carries with the NASCAR culture with it. And so it's just I'm looking forward to trying to do it again. To Richard's point, I'll probably use a trike this time. The first ride I was on a sidecar. For whatever reason, I took a sidecar.
Yes.
And the fuel stops were like 100 miles for everybody else, or 115 miles. Well, that sidecar went 90 miles. So I finally figured out, and Nelson Crozier had to ride with me with a 2-gallon tank to put gas in mine to keep up with the rest of it.
Yeah, listen, we almost saw Mike and Crozier. It was not a gas and go, it was a gas on the go. Crozier would just stand up in the sidecar and gas Mike's bike as we were riding down the road. That's kind of, but I will say this, and to that first year, and to the history of the ride, this has been one of the things that we are extremely proud about at the charity ride, is we went to California Speedway before it was built. We have pictures in our archives of us sitting there at the steel plant with all the stuff in the background before they built that. We went to Kansas City before it was built. We went to Vegas to the site before it was built. We went to a lot of racetracks that came along in the late 90s and to the early 2000s before they were built. The Calipatti Charity Ride, we would route our way so that we could be there to get the cities and to get the states and to get the local municipalities and the local public excited about NASCAR coming to town. And that's been something that has always tied us to the garage area and tied us to the sport and tied us to the fans. So that has been a huge part of the legacy when we go back and look at it.
I'm going to open it up for questions. If there's any questions, straight back. I don't know if we have a microphone that we can get to them.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Gallen with Above the Yellow Line Media. My question is for Kyle. In the 30 years that you've been doing this ride, you've done this where you've been able to traverse the country all over it and do it not closed off inside of a plane or a bus, and actually get to experience all the different areas that the ride has taken you through. I wanted to see if you could speak to what insights that you've gotten from just encountering people of all different walks of life and all different corners of the country that you might not get if you stay in one part of America most of your life.
So I will say this, and I've said this before, is I grew up in the sport through the 60s when I was born, and going to short tracks all over the Southeast, and thinking that California was the most exotic place in the world. For us to go to Riverside and race, it was like, oh my God, this is not North Carolina, this is not Georgia, this is not the South. And the sport was a Southeastern sport. I think what I have figured out and what we've learned is like Mike said, and what we've talked about is we've left from Seattle, Washington. We've been through Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. We've been from Maine to Miami. We have been everywhere. And there's not a place I go and a place we go that you don't see a NASCAR t-shirt and a NASCAR fan. And I think that speaks volumes for this sport, because you could have gone, listen, Dale Earnhardt won the championship in 1980. And we were out there. I was a young driver, and we were out and about, and that's all I'm going to say. And nobody knew who anybody was. In California, nobody knew who we were. You could go anywhere, anytime, any place, and nobody recognized you, nobody talked to you, nobody talked about the sport or what it was. In a very short period of time, 15 years later, when we had started the ride, that world had gotten really small of people that didn't know, and the world of people that did know got really big, and it's only expanded from that. So I think for me, that's been the biggest thing. People will recognize you on a motorcycle. They recognize me as much from a motorcycle, it's crazy, because of the Kyle Petty charity ride, than they do for what I did out here or any TV stuff that you've done, because they're like, oh man, I want to go on that ride. We see you on the ride. We do that. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned by riding.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right, we'll go to Holly next.
Congratulations, first of all, for making such a big difference in people's lives. It's really a big deal. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I'm curious how you decide what your route is going to be every year.
So that's a good question. So Don Tilley, who had Tilly Harley Davidson, Don used to set the route for us, and we would have followed Don anywhere. I would follow Don. It doesn't make any difference. Don knew every road in America. I've told this story. I was lost in New Mexico one time, and I didn't have my atlas. And I called Don, and it was like 10:30 at night. And I told him where I was at and at what gas station. I would say, I'm at a Texaco, and this is where I'm at. And I don't know where do I go from here to get back to where I need to be. And he said, you're going to go down the road, maybe 20, 30 miles. And he said, and there's a T in the road. And he said, hang a left there, and it'll take you back. He said, I don't know what the road is, but I know exactly what Texaco you're standing at. And sure enough, I just followed his directions and got back. So he used to set the route for us. Morgan and I, and Morgan, my wife Morgan, who's up here, she runs the charity ride. We talk about it. We talk to the riders from the year before. We send out surveys. What are places you've been? What are places you'd like to go back to? What are places you'd like to go new? And then we pick a starting spot and an ending spot. And this year was easy. For the 30th, we wanted to leave California, Sonoma, like we did before. We wanted to end in North Carolina, and then it's just connect the dots in between. And that's kind of how we do it. We pick a starting city and an ending city, and then try to connect the dots, to Mike's point, with enough fuel stops in between so nobody runs out of fuel. And that's the way it kind of boils down.
And I just wanted to ask a real quick follow-up. Is there a story maybe of somebody that you encountered that really sticks in your mind? Maybe something that all three of you would agree on was just like, what?
So I'll give two real quick stories. One, we're in Arkansas, and we stop in a little town with a gas station that has 2 pumps, and you're trying to fuel 120 bikes with two pumps. And this gentleman shows up and he starts talking to us, and we just chatting with him. And at the end of it, we fuel all the bikes, but we give everybody time to eat and rest a little bit. And then our motor marshals will sound the siren, and that's a 5-minute warning to be back on your bike. And this gentleman said, I would like to give you guys something. I would like to give everybody something, but I really don't have anything. And he said, but I can do one thing. And he told me what he could do. And I said, this is cool. This is what you're going to give us. And so instead of the siren, for the 5-minute warning, this gentleman had been the Arkansas State hog calling champion 5 years running, and he stood in the back of a pickup with a microphone and he gave a hog call like the Arkansas Razorbacks, and it was freaking phenomenal. And that was our 5-minute warning, and that was a gift that he gave to us. Another time, Terry Labonte was on the ride. We're out in New Mexico. We had ridden for maybe 70 or 80 miles, hadn't passed a car, hadn't passed a house. If you've ever ridden out in the parts of New Mexico, we came to a crossroads, to a T, not a crossroads, to a T. And there was a truck parked on the side of the road, right at that T, and there was a man and his wife, and their kids, a little girl and a little boy. They were probably 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And they had a sign, and they were holding a sign that said, "We love Terry Labonte." And they had on their Terry Labonte jackets and their Terry Labonte hat and all their stuff. And I pulled over and waved Terry down when Terry came by. Terry and Kim were on the bike, waved Terry down. These people had driven 4.5 hours to get to this place on the road where they hoped Terry Labonte would wave at them when he rode by. They had no guarantee that he was going to stop and talk to them. And Terry spent 15 or 20 minutes with him on the side of the road. And then we ran and caught up. But it's those moments when you're out there riding that think, man, this is so freaking cool. This is the coolest thing you can do. Because you're bringing NASCAR to these people, but we're educating these people about what Victory Junction is and what this sport is.
Matt Weaver, motorsport.com. I had the great honor of working with Al Pierce at Auto Week for 7 years, and I know what this ride meant to him, and I have an idea of what he means to you guys too. But if you could share some stories about Al being on the road with him.
Let me tell you something. This is Al. I'm gonna give you, and if you worked with Al, you know Al. So if we stopped for fuel, Al would fuel his bike, and he's off to the side. If we stopped for lunch, we would all be here eating, and Al would be laying over there asleep somewhere. He'd rest. Al stopped. We lost Al one day. We lost him. We're riding along, and we lost him. And when we got to the gas station and we stopped, we're like, "Hey man, where you been?" He said, "Well, about 40 miles back, I stopped at Kmart. My feet got cold and I needed some socks." So he just pulled off and it was the Kyle Petty charity ride that ran this way, and it was the Al Pierce charity ride that ran parallel to it, to be totally honest with you. That's kind of the way it was. But everybody loved Al. Al flew to, I felt, the worst I ever felt for Al was when we went to Maine and he picked up his bike. He flew up ahead and picked up his bike and rode it down and dropped it in the parking lot at the hotel and broke his wrist and then couldn't ride. And we had to load his bike up and he had to fly back home because he broke his wrist. But Al was there from the very, very beginning and was a big part of the ride. And the riders still talk about it. And we've had so many people that have come and gone. We just recently lost Bill Davis, and Bill Davis rode with us forever. And so many people, like I said before, with Tony Stewart and with Kenseth. Kenseth's going back with us again this year. So many people have come and gone and come and gone. And we talk about it all the time. Once you come to the charity ride, and once you experience it, and Claire B. Lane, she's ridden with us. Once you are part of it, you're just part of a family. It's kind of like this community. We talk about NASCAR being a family, but it's kind of like that. Once you ride, you're part of it.
Michael Massey, Front Stretch. Mike, you said you rode in the sidecar the first year. Were you not really a motorcycle guy? And this
he didn't ride in the sidecar. He drove the bike.
Oh, he drove the bike with the side. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your history with being a motorcycle guy then, Mike?
I like a lot of other enthusiasts, as soon as I could afford one, I bought one and grew up with a lot of motorcycles along the way. And then on the NASCAR side, you start finding the people in the industry that share that because it in of its own is a culture that guys our age would refer back to cowboy days, where you felt free on a motorcycle in the adventure, whether it was snowing or raining or 100 degrees or 40 degrees. The adventure of being on a bike was that. So I'd had a lot of bike. I don't know what made me take that sidecar. I knew better. I should have known better. And I got no idea why I took it, but I did.
All right, let's go to Zach and then Mike.
Zach Sterniello, NASCAR.com. Mike, along those same rides, how did being on the ride help you build relationships within the motorcycle community, and also help you kind of be able to take a break from your day-to-day stresses as well?
Yeah. So the second question first, it's therapeutic. It's a lot cheaper than a psychiatrist too. So as expensive as it is, it's still cheaper than a psychiatrist. But it is therapeutic to be on a motorcycle ride, and it's even more enjoyable if you're with a group that share that. And that's what Kyle put together with this ride is a lot of people. And Eric, we could go on for days having Don Tilley and Harry Gant stories, and they led the pack, and then Richard Petty's and Kyle Petty's and the Dick Brookses of the world, the Bill Davis and Gail and Terry and Ken. But you build a bond away from racing with people that you race with or you have in your race community, and then you build a bond with other people that are motorcycle enthusiasts, and then they kind of come into your world and you get into their world. So it's as big a relationship maker than the sport of NASCAR is in a lot of ways. But there's a passion to it that when you add the fun and the organization that the tours got or the rides got with it now, then you realize the cause it's for. It just connects all the dots.
Go to Mike. Mike Embry, NASCAR.com. Kyle, you've had over the years two people who were very important to this ride, almost irreplaceable, Click Baldwin and Don Tilley. Yet the thing continues to grow, to succeed. If you had to kind of fill in different people in these leadership roles over the years?
Yeah. So, Click, I will say this: when we started the ride, with Don and with Click, and Click had the place in Gastonia, and even to this day, the event shirt that I wear every day has Don's name on one shoulder and Click's name on the other shoulder. That's how important they were to what the ride is and what the ride has become and how it continues to grow. You don't replace people like that. You really don't. You never. There's always a hole in the ride and in what we do. But what we do is you begin to focus and you do things in their memory and do it for them and say this is what they would have liked and what they would do. Don taught me, Don and Click, I will say this, Don and Harry, and we'll end with this kind of. Don and Harry taught Click and I to ride long. And ride long means ride further than the bar, okay? Riding short is you're just riding to the bar. Riding long is you're going somewhere, man. You're making something happen. So Click and I, we take off with Don and Harry, and I've told this story before that we're riding out west, and we come through Tucumcari, New Mexico, and it's 13 degrees, and we're freezing our rear ends off, and Click and I are dying, just dying. Don and Harry, tough as goats, man. Harry said, when I asked Harry what he's going to wear, he's going, I'm going to wear more coveralls I got down used out there on the farm, or I just got coveralls. You know what I'm talking about. So we go out there and ride, and I'm riding, come down one morning for breakfast, and Harry's hands, he looks like he stuck them in Vaseline. He's got all this cream all over his hands. And I said, what's wrong with your hands, Harry? He said, oh, them old electric gloves I got burnt my hands. He said, you ain't got no electric gloves, no electric suit? We didn't have nothing. Harry and Don had electric suits. They ride in 13-degree weather. They turn the temperature up to 85. They're comfortable. Click and I ride in 13-degree weather. The wind chill factor takes it down to below zero. So that's what we were doing. And that's what we learned from them, was how to ride long and how to do things. So you look at those people, and they taught us something that hopefully as we ride, we teach other people.
You need to explain one thing to folks here that haven't been on one of these.
Yeah.
One of the things I was most impressed with was the famous golden ticket.
Yeah.
How about that?
So you learn things through the years, okay? And Morgan and them, I will say that my wife Morgan and them came up with the golden ticket for the ladies more than anything else, is when we would stop with 120 people. I don't know if you've ever, like if you stop at a gas station with just your family, there's a restroom with a restroom. That's it. So you bring 150 or 60 people in, that restroom is not enough. So we bring porta-johns in. But if you will bid on the golden ticket and have the golden ticket, you get to go to the front of the bathroom line. And that's what the golden ticket is all about, is going to the front. And you think, and you laugh, But by God, there's days you'd give $1 million for a golden ticket. I'm telling you, man, there is nothing worse. You feel like a 5-year-old holding your crotch and bouncing up and down because you got to go. And that's just what it is. So there's been so much. And as Morgan has come into the ride and perfected it and changed it and made things her ride and done different things with our luggage team and our media team and a social media team. And we have a motel team where all they do is go ahead and they check us in before we get there. We just pull in the parking lot, they hand us a key. It has become so streamlined that it is absolutely amazing. And it allows us to do nothing but ride motorcycles. For that first year, we were eating a bucket of chicken on an overpass trying to figure out where we were going to get gas the next time. That's how disorganized we were. So it's a well-oiled machine now.
I think we have one more over there.
Yes, Alfred Romero, Southern Race Week Radio. Obviously, all this goes to help raise money for Victory Junction. Tell me about the goal and what you hope to accomplish with the Victory Junction. And for those of us who have never been there before, what's that experience like for the kids who come out and participate in that?
So I tell people all the time, the experience of kids coming to camp and experiencing camp is the same experience we get riding motorcycles. It's that camaraderie. It's that group. It's being a part of something. It's being a part of something bigger than we are and being a part of something that makes a difference. These kids come to camp, and we see kids 6 to 16 that come to camp with multiple different disease groups and multiple different illnesses, and it allows these kids to just be kids for a week, to make that connection with another kid with spina bifida. Maybe they've never seen another child who has juvenile rheumatoid arthritis or another child with craniofacial disorders. Maybe they've never been around that, but it allows them, and they walk in a room and there's 120 other kids that look just like them. And it is an empowering experience, and that's what camp does. It empowers these kids to just be kids. We have been very, very blessed through the years to raise a substantial amount of money to send kids to camp. We have never, ever, in the history of this ride, ever said, this is how much money we're going to raise, because that's not the goal. The goal is to raise as much as we can. We have this stupid saying, if you want to donate a pig, we'll make barbecue. We're good. We'll do something with any donation. It doesn't make any difference, as long as it helps these kids and changes these kids' lives. After Adam's accident, he was on the ride. He was on the ride right before his accident. The week before his accident, he was on a motorcycle with us on the Kyle Petty charity ride, raising money for children in children's hospitals. And after his accident, it was only fitting that we take that money and try to do something in his name and build something bigger. Camp started in early 2000s, and because of, and I keep going back, and you can't separate camp, you can't separate the charity ride, you can't separate anything that we do from NASCAR and from those people that buy tickets and sit up there in the grandstands, because they're the ones that make it happen. They're the ones that come out and see us when we ride on the charity ride. They're the ones that make that donation to camp so a child from California or Montana or wherever can come to camp. They're the ones. We had a platform that NASCAR allowed us to have a platform, and we've been able to use that platform through the Kyle Petty charity ride to build a place at Victory Junction. And for 22 years, as I said, we've touched over 150,000 kids and their family, and families have come through there. And as long as I can throw a leg over a motorcycle or jump on a trike, and I will say this, my man Herschel McGriff, how old was he last time? 95. Herschel went with us he was 95 years old. He's still with us, 95 years old. As long as I can emulate Herschel McGriff and ride a trike, and when I get off, unfold my walker and walk to the Porta-John, I'm be good. And we're still going to be raising money to send kids to camp. Because if Herschel McGriff can do it, then we're going to be able to do it.
No, I just, if you haven't had a chance to go to Victory Junction, and we sometimes take for granted because of its history, if you haven't had a chance, I'd really recommend you take the time to go, and they organize opportunities for you to see it in action, or they organize opportunities for you just to see the property and hear the story of what they do. And it's so overwhelming, the good that comes out of there. And so anybody that hears about Victory Junction, This group could help spread the word of the good it does to help people continue to support it, because it is incredible. And our industry's been very fortunate to have a lot of connections to a lot of good efforts. But the Victory Junction, I think, is the most symbolic camp and location for people that can enjoy their lives for a few days, just like everybody else does, and would never have that opportunity if the camp were not there. So if you get a chance, I beg you to please take time to go see it, so that you can get firsthand knowledge. We can talk about it till the cows come home. For
sure.
But if you see it firsthand knowledge, you instantly understand why the efforts go into raising funds to keep it going.
All right, thank you all for.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
We'll
Thank
have
you.
some pictures here real quick, and we'll have some additional information about our fan events coming out in the next weeks and months. Thank you.
No, it was great. I feel like we should have this every Sunday. You're good to go? Yeah. Yeah, you can pick whichever. That's perfect. That's perfect. Well, Billy, we meet again. First of all, congratulations on another win.
Thank you.
Here at Echo Park Speedway, that was a crazy finish there at the end, so I'm sure you have some comments about that. But just talk a little bit about this team. You guys didn't win last year. We're 2 races into the season, and you've already, not only won, you've now won 2. So just talk a little bit about kind of what you guys went through last year and maybe how that's actually helping you now.
Yeah, last year definitely remained a challenge, the whole time. And we spent a lot of time this winter reflecting on that, and a lot of deep discussion on how to rebound from that and how to stay focused on the right things and not putting too much emphasis on results. And that's really hard to do when there is so much that revolves around winning and so much expectations that we have on ourselves, but also that comes with this sport and the ownership we have. So just going into it with the approach of controlling things we could control and trying to stay focused on just doing the right processes and expecting results to just naturally come out of that, and for it to happen this quick and, like you said, twice already in 2 races is amazing.
All right, we'll go to questions for Billy. If you have one, raise your hand. We're going to start up front with Jordan.
Congratulations, Billy. 2 for 2. These are drafting tracks, obviously. Wins are wins, and points are important. Now we know all that. Now we shift up to road course, short oval, intermediate track. Is there anything you can carry it over at all from these last 2 weeks to what is ahead for the next 3?
I think just other than momentum and confidence, no, you're right. They're very different tracks, and so many times these outcomes are out of your control. That there's so many things that have to go right to win these types of races. I think more so than the ones that are coming up. So, honestly, we were just hoping to have good showings in these and get onto the meat of the schedule and the ones that are ahead. So, really excited for what the future holds.
What is it about 2311 that seems it's really hitting its stride? It's not just the winning, but Bubba's second in points. I mean, the consistency's been there now. It seems like all style of tracks, you guys are in the game. What is it about this organization that is kind of putting in among, we hear the big 3 all the time, but now maybe the big 4?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just the culture, the communication, just the open honesty that comes from the top down, starting with the ownerships and what Michael and Denny both preach to us of what they expect, but also the advice and the camaraderie that we all carry. So I think we all just hold each other accountable right now, and everyone is certainly pulling the rope in the same direction.
All All right, we're going to go to Tim. Go ahead, Tim.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Today. Congrats on the win, Billy. I want to go back to that last restart because you guys opted to take the bottom. I first want to know who had the influence on the call. Was it you? Was it Bubba's decision? Like, who ultimately brought it up to switch you guys down there and make that decision? And, I mean, Tyler didn't have a right front fender. I mean, I'm no expert, obviously you are as the crew chief. I mean, how does he keep the speed he does throughout the day without a right front fender here to Super Speedway?
Yeah, I don't know. We probably need to take that car to the wind tunnel, I guess, and see what we learned. But no, the bottom had been working for us on the restarts, and it worked on the previous one. Obviously, there was some contact with the 77 there that sent the 20 in the wall. But we just, yes, I think Bubba was the one that dictated where he went, but we were going to stay committed to him at that point when we had the choice. The one before, we were put there just out of, that was what was left. But, you know, that worked out as we had planned. He got clear, and I still don't know exactly what happened that he ended up 3 wide top, but we were certainly the beneficiary. Had a great push from our Toyota teammate and the 19 behind us, and appreciate that once again, helping us get us out front. And yeah, I was really worried after we had the damage, made the repairs, realized we did have speed. We definitely preached to him to stay in line, you know, poke left front out, keep the right front hidden behind other cars. But I guess when you take the lead on the last 3/4 of a lap, you don't have much of a choice, and it managed to hang on just fine.
As it just to clarify, who initiated the conversation? Was it you or was it the 23 team?
I don't know. A lot of that happens up on the spotter stand, but from our standpoint, we were going to pick behind the 23, regardless of which lane.
And one last question. I mean, just how do you feel about your chances of three-peating, considering Tyler is a very skilled road racer?
He is. One step at a time. You know, we're going to enjoy this, but yeah, it's next week's a reset, and yeah, it would be great. We could keep going on, but we're going to enjoy this one, and we'll certainly give it the same level of effort next week.
All right, we're going to come up front to Deb.
Deb Williams, Auto Week. Congratulations, Billy. We know the right front fender was missing. What were the other repairs that you made? You said you made the repairs. What were they?
Yeah, so couldn't do much about the right front fender. It was gone, left on the track somewhere. But the parts that were hanging off the front left, they did their best to bare bond to them, tie those up with tape and stuff, because it was so cold that it was hard to even get stuff to stick there to hold it together. I believe they got a brace in on the last stop when we came down. We made one attempt on when pits were open to put a brace in there, make another repair, and get the hood screwed back together to the louver. There was a lot of gaps up there that we felt like air was leaking out of. So I don't really know without looking closer on how many repairs were made, but basically the whole front end was torn up pretty good.
Thank you.
All right, any final questions for Billy? All right, congratulations again, Billy, on that win, and best of luck next weekend.
Appreciate it.
Tyler's won there too, so thank you. They keep making you work. All right, we've now been joined by our race team owner, Denny Hamlin. For the second week in a row, Denny, congratulations on Tyler winning here at Echo Park Speedway. You often say that as much as you're happy Tyler is winning, it also means he beat you. So just take us a little bit through kind of your race and then also just watching Tyler win another one.
Yeah, it's you know, just for us personally, it's a little better day. We didn't finish in the 30s. We've had, you know, a pretty tough time getting to the finish line on these super speedways, and but you know, really about them, they're just doing a fantastic job right now. The drivers are doing great. The team is doing great, bringing fast cars. You know, this is a big deal for Pinnacle, being the first time winning as a primary for them. So, and then to have the big dogs here from Pinnacle to witness it is awesome. So, really happy about the results, and you know, definitely more happy than anything this week.
All right, we'll go to questions for Denny. If you have one, raise your hand. I'll work to get to as many as I can in the time that we have. We'll start with Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. I don't know if you realize this or not, but your two, Tyler and Bubba, are 1-2 in the point standings. What does that feel like after 2 races?
Yeah, you know, it's very early, but it's not by circumstance. They're running up front. They're fast, and again, just doing a lot of the right things, and we're making up for lost time. Last year, obviously, we talked about last week, we didn't have the wins that we expected as a race team, but they're making up for it right now, and I it feels good, certainly, as a car owner, knowing that you've got a couple bullets in the gun. When the end of the race didn't go Bubba's way, you got another one there to pick it up, and that certainly increases your odds of winning a lot of races when you've got multiple cars up front like we had tonight.
It's not just the 2 wins today or the Daytona 500 last week, but even go back to last year, Bubba wins the Brickyard. So you guys have won 2 of the last 3 majors. Is it time to start thinking of 2311 as one of the big 3 and now it's a big 4?
It's too early for that. I mean, we're many wins and championships away from that, but I mean, there's no question that we're building fast cars and cars that are capable of winning week in, week out. We don't always hit the setup or things like that, but we're working hard, and to this team being non-existent 6 years ago, it's just amazing that we were able to do what we did with building this thing from scratch, and now having the results week in, week out that is contending with the big guys.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Denny. Evan with the Covington News. As Jordan said, this was a big win tonight for 2311 as a whole. This was the 11th win as an organization. Do you really feel like this is an inflection point, really, for 2311 just as a whole?
Well, this is it's just a great opportunity for them to, and I talked about it last week, race free and be able, for Tyler to get the win kind of early at Daytona. It's like, he had that winless season last year. It's like, okay, I think just kind of race free. And, I saw it after, we were both in that wreck that I was in. He comes out, his car's damaged, and he just starts shooting the middle again like his car's fine. And it's like, well, that's the guy that feels like he's got nothing to lose right there. So not only that, but now, with Bubba being P2 in the standings, this gets him off on the right foot for the season. And I can assure you that all drivers are looking at the standings week in, week out now. There is no, well, I'll check it 10 weeks from now, 5 weeks from now. Everyone is looking. And so it matters, and it certainly will be a good mental check for them, knowing that they've got this year started off on the right foot. And hopefully that allows them both to race freely and know that they've got a few good finishes to start the year. It's just momentum. Momentum's a big thing in this sport, and sometimes when you get it going, it's hard to stop.
Have you had a chance to look at Tyler's car yet?
I have, yeah.
So did you think, now that you've seen the damage, obviously there's no front fender, did you think there was any chance in the world that car could have actually driven up and gotten it done today?
Yeah, it's interesting. Aerodynamics is a very weird thing with these cars, and there's certain points of where air hits that it kind of deflects away, and we've seen in the past on super speedways that the guys can get away with no fenders, usually when they're tucked up behind somebody, but it's usually very hard once you are out there trying to lead a pack. But I thought it was probably a good thing, because it probably increased the drag enough to where he wasn't able to get too far out from the 19 there on that last lap from what I saw. And so, that was either his driving, he was slowing the car down, or it just, that's kind of all it had, and it didn't allow him to have that yo-yo effect to let those guys get a run. So we've seen here at this racetrack, this place is Carnage City. So nothing surprises me when you look in victory lane and the car's got no fender here.
Thanks, Denny.
All right, I'm going to go to Bob here in the middle, and then a microphone to Chris in the back.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Bubba said that he'll need to take a look and see what he did wrong. Like, how much, when you're in that position, when you lose a race like this, are you done something wrong, and versus just you pick what you do and it doesn't work out?
Super speedway racing is the king of hindsight is 2020. if you knew where every car was going to go, then you would always make the right move. But you just don't know when you pull up in front of a line how that line is going to react. Are they going to push? Are they going to shoot middle? Are they going to go high? You just don't know. I felt very confident that Tyler was going to do everything he could to push the 23 as much as he could to a race win. Now, he was going to probably go for it on the last lap, like I would expect those two teammates to do. But one thing was going to be for sure, and that was the 45 was going to stay committed to the 23. But the 77 had a run coming on the outside there. Bubba just did not want to get back side by side and then have the 50-50 shot. He wanted to, he had been controlling the lanes really well the last half of the race, and so he probably felt confident that if he pulled up, he could then control the lanes like he had all night. But people just become a little bit more desperate. They shoot gaps, and certainly it's always a learning moment. But I don't think that, if you're talking about, who would you take in a neutral car, Bubba's going to be on the top 3 on a super speedway list no matter what. He proves week in, week out on these types of racetracks that while you don't, tonight he didn't make the race winning move, his still body of work is that he's one of the best at it.
And contract year for Reddick, so are you happy that you've proven that he can still win with you, or are you like, oh no, other teams are seeing that he has potentially be one of the top talents in the sport?
I think that everyone, regardless of his season last year, would always think of Tyler Reddick as a top talent. We picked him out many years ago for that reason, and so there's no question that he's going to have a long future here.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Denny, Chris Gollin with Above the Yellow Line Media. So not to go to the worst part of your day. Oh, over here, Denny.
Yep.
Not to go to the worst part of your day, but the incident where Tyler Reddick got a little bit of damage on the front of his car was when you spun on lap, I think it said like 223 here. Can you explain what happened in that incident from your perspective?
I need to go back and see it. I've truthfully not seen a replay. I haven't seen anything. I felt like I got crowded by the 22 up in the fence. At that point, the steering wheel got knocked out of my hand, so we made wheel-to-wheel contact at some point of this. But if that's an inaccurate take, then I think I can have it because I haven't seen it yet. I just remember in the moment thinking I was out of room up there, but again, I need to look at it before I can really give a true feeling.
Thanks, Denny.
All right, Denny, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you coming in here, and wish you the best of luck next week in COTA.
It's nice and warm in here. It's a lot warmer in here than outside.
I know, right? Between last week and this week, and I didn't even make you come back in here for winning the poll because I didn't think you had anything else to talk about, to be honest. So a big congratulations on another victory. We had Billy Scott in here just a little bit ago, and he touched on just the fact that you guys obviously didn't win last year. It was something you navigated as a team. You worked hard in the off season. You're now 2 for 2. So just talk a little bit about, what it means to be 2 wins in, but also just kind of a little bit about how hard you guys worked together to get back to this point.
Yeah, worked a lot of hard work in the off season. It's awesome. It's paid off 2 weeks in a row at 2 very hard to win races. It's funny. This time around, it was not looking great. About 40 or 50 laps to go. And yeah, we just found a way to fix the damage and just kind of push through it. I don't know. We kind of talked about what our goals were going to be after having that damage. Just let's try and get back to the top 15. And a couple laps in, I think we were running like 5th or 6th. So just crazy how we kind of found our way back to the front, and just, again, you know, I thought today was going to end in a way where, you know, it was one of those days where we rely on our strengths to fight through the damage and get a really good finish out of it. I never would have dreamed, kind of like last week, you know, like we would be sitting here talking about winning the race. So, yeah, just kind of unbelievable, honestly. We were running we were at the back of the pack with, I don't know, 16 laps to go or whatever it was, and we just found our way towards the front, and I thought it was going to play out in a way where I was going to be able to push Bubba and hopefully get him the victory, but just unfortunately the way it panned out when he went to cover the 77, the 77 split him, and that left me in front, you know, open air, where I kind of didn't want to be with the damage I had. But again, just got an awesome push from a Toyota teammate, just like last week, and Chase Briscoe this time, and that was able to secure the victory for us.
I saw a photo posted on social media right before you walked in of a victory lane photo of your family, and Bo's smile is like so big. Just what has it been like this week with him? Just the opportunity to win the 500, to come here and win again, and him be, you know, present for both of them.
Yeah, you know, we got home late Tuesday night, and I think on Wednesday after I got done at airspeed, we kind of got to sit around and watch the race back as a family together and listen to him chime in on everything happening in the closing laps. So that race was fun. But yeah, he was feeling exactly how I did after it was all said and done. He walked up to the car and he's like, "How did you win that race? I thought you were done. You were wrecked." That was crazy. I'm like, "That was crazy. I don't know. It just happened." So yeah, it's been fun. For me, it's fulfilling to win these races as a driver. For me, it's fulfilling to be able to have these moments with my family in victory lane. And, you know, there's some pressure with knowing that at times my child's happiness rides on how I do on Sundays, and I'll do my best to live up to his standards.
All right. Well, a great lesson in perseverance for Bo there today. We're going to go for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'm going to work to get to as many as I can. And I'm going to start with Holly and then go to Zach.
Holly came with the NASCAR Wire Service. Congratulations, Tyler. Can you just put into words a little bit? I mean, I know how happy you were last week to win the Daytona 500, but to answer it with this after all you went through last season. I mean, it's not just, well, winning the Daytona 500 is a great way to start things off. Now you've added a second one. I mean, you can't be beaten. You're 40 points ahead of the standings. Just talk about the up you're on right now.
Yeah, truly crazy. You know, for many years, I talked a little bit about it, you know, last week. For a number of years, we would leave Daytona the first couple of races and kind of be in the hole in points, you know, in the 30s. And, I mean, we were able to claw out of it, whether it's win races or whatever the deal was, and get back where we need to be. But to be able to get through two races that, you know, things can just happen. I mean, like, look what happened to Kyle towards the end of stage 2, getting in that crash. Someone that, you know, scores a lot of points in the season. I mean, those are the kind of things that just sometimes are out of your control. And for us to get through two chaotic races with a lot of points is just, it's a great start. I feel like, you know, where I would typically catch up or have the opportunity to kind of catch up and get back where we need to be is the West Coast swing. And now to have, like you said, 40 points up, going into Coda, where we've been really good, going into Phoenix and Vegas, a place that, you know, in the spring especially, we contend. So, yeah, just to start off that way, knowing how good we've been at these other places we have coming up, just really helps, you know, the confidence, keeps me extra motivated, especially too during the week to work hard, knowing what great opportunity we have in front of us to start. I mean, yeah, at some point we could get caught up in a wreck, we could add DNF, but to start it off like this, I think everyone is just extremely hungry to just keep pressing onward, whether that's winning races, winning stages, or just scoring points. We have a great opportunity in front of us to get off to a really good start.
Go ahead, Zach.
Zach Cerniolo, NASCAR.com. Tyler, congratulations, both today and last week. It seems like a lot of the success that you have stems from being able to trust yourself and trust your car to make the moves necessary to carve through the field. What faith did you have to have in the car today and your team's repairs to be able to make the moves that you did to get back to where you're sitting now?
Well, you know, to some degree, after we got that damage, you know, Billy, as we kind of talked about, you know, in the off season, let's aim for a top 15 here. And in kind of in some ways, I didn't really listen. I kind of drove it into turn 1 and turn 3 on the first lap after crashing at about a 10 out of 10. And I'm glad I did because, I mean, I guess on one hand I could have crashed all by myself, but I was able to really understand what we needed if we had another caution to further repair the car, to help the now loose handling that we had in our car from the right front being gone. And, you know, it's funny how that just kind of works. You know, I always kind of driven past the limit to find the limit, and in a situation like that, it kind of helped us get our car more where it needed to be at the very end. But yeah, to just have all that play out like it did was great. Did I answer your question? I got lost. Sorry. Oh, a lot. I mean, an immeasurable amount in the beginning of the race. You know, I felt really good about where it ended in stage 1. I think it came right where it needed to be for stage 2. And then, yeah, when we had that damage, I was concerned, obviously, but we were able to make that little bit of adjustment on it with, I don't know if it was air or just, you know, putting right side tires on, whatever we did there. It just made it my limiting factor was it made it that much better, and that allowed us to kind of get back to the front.
All right, Evan, go ahead.
Hey Tyler, Evan with the Covington News. So with this victory, this makes you the 67th driver to have 10 or more victories in the NASCAR Cup Series. What does that mean to be in such elite company?
What's that?
You're the 67th driver to have 10 or more victories in the NASCAR Cup Series. So what does that mean ultimately, just to be in that elite of company?
I mean, it's cool, but 67 is a lot. I know what you mean. It is cool though. Yeah, you know, I've over the last couple years, I've definitely hated seeing how many second place finishes I've had in my short time here in the Cup Series. So to be able to even that out a little bit more with some victories has been nice. But yeah, you know, I don't know. I try not to think about that stuff, I guess, too much, but certainly it's good to know we're going in the right direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I asked Denny this as well, but, you know, obviously racking up these back-to-back wins and the momentum that 2311 has had this year, do you really feel like this is an inflection point for 2311 Racing as an organization to not only go out and, you know, compete for wins every week, but to possibly go out and compete for a championship?
Yeah, I mean, for us, 2025 was not really the year we were supposed to have. And, you know, you look at what we did in 2024, in my opinion, how we should have continued to improve from 2024. You know, with how this year started and with where our cars have been running, these last 2 weeks is more on par with what 2026 should look like. You know, we show up to the racetrack every weekend with the efforts of, you know, breaking up the three big teams, you know, the Joe Gibbs of the world, the Penske's of the world, and Hendrick. You know, we want to jump in and be a part of the conversation with those three. You know, we want to take the competition to them, and to be able to pull that off the last 2 weeks, to have our cars running up towards the front the last 2 weeks, and majority parts of the race is a great start. Yes, they're speedway races. They're challenging to control, though, and I'm excited to see, you know, some of the work we put in this offseason show up over the course of the next 3 weeks at COTA, Phoenix, and Vegas.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right, Peter, go ahead.
Tyler over here, Peter Strada with TSJ Sports. You had a pretty unique celebration out there on the front stretch. Where did you get the idea for the reverse straight burnout?
I wish I would have done a little longer, but I know everyone's ready to get me out of the car. So, yeah, I didn't know if the Transax would hold up to it, but I'm glad it did. Maybe I'll do some more of that in the future. Did it look cool? Okay, good.
All right, I think that, yep, right here. I knew I had a question over there.
Yeah, Alfa Romero, Southern Race Week Radio, congratulations on the win. You said that last year was kind of a disappointing year for you because you didn't have a win and all of that, and now you've had a couple of wins. Has your the mindset between last year and this year, with you having such a fast start, what's the mindset now when you're going now further now as you go into the next few weeks? How is your mindset probably a little different than probably what it was last year, maybe around this time of the year too?
Yeah, I think the mindset shift took place in the off season. It may seem like, I don't know if that's kind of what you mean, but for us, that shift, the work, the conversations all happened in the off season. And yeah, they're 2 Speedway races for sure, but you know, I feel like just the adjustments we make in the race, communication wise or mentally that I'm making, have been positive throughout the day. And so, yeah, we've won 2 races, right? But I feel like the things that we worked on this off season kind of really set us up to be able to take advantage of the days that have been put in front of us.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Today. Tyler, I want to go back on the white flag, right? You're side by side with Carson, and then Briscoe gives you a push. But did you expect him to come back with a run and maybe are surprised it just never came there over that back
you know,
half
me
lap?
and Ross were talking about that in Victory Lane. He was just like, he just didn't know how the run didn't get there. And believe me, I felt the exact same way with my damage and everything. I thought, surely, you know, yeah, I've gotten the push out front. That's good. But you do expect, you know, the 19 or the 1 to be able to give, you know, some kind of a run for something. And, yeah, you know, that was something that me and Ross talked about. I was just blown away that they didn't come with a bigger run, especially with the damage that we had. So, I don't know. Sometimes things are just meant to be. And for some reason there, you know, we got the push down into 1, and no one was able to ever get back to us. I don't know how, but I'll take it.
And you've kind of prefaced already just how huge it is to get through the chaotic races the way you have, earning the points. But both you, Bubba, 1-2 in points. How special is that? And I think
That's
the gap
awesome.
is 40 points between you to Bubba in second. So how huge is that as well?
Well, I know Bubba's not going to be thrilled it's a 40-point gap, but, you know, for us at 23-11, you know, we take great pride in running good at everywhere that we go, and we work hard to set ourselves up for success everywhere, but of course the speedways. How can we work together? How can we kind of keep ourselves towards the front? And, you know, again, I hate it for him. He had a more clean race than I did tonight, and it just kind of, you know, the 77 had an opportunity to hang him out, and he did. So it's a bummer for him because I think he had all in all a better, smoother, cleaner day. But yeah, for us to be 1-2 is a great way to start it. You know, for him, the road course stuff has been getting better. It's been fun working on that with him. So we're going to do what we can to kind of stay there, you know. There's going to be some races that maybe we don't have the speed that we want, but as long as we continue to fight really hard all race long, you know, we're going to take advantage of this great start that we've had.
All right, we're going to end with Chris in the back.
Hey Tyler, Chris Gollin with Above the Yellow Line Media. So you are one of, I think the number was, I think you're the 6th person to win back-to-back races to open up the season. Someone can yell at me if I'm wrong about that. Is it an important goal for you to try and become the first person to do 3 in a row to open up the season next week?
I mean, it's. Am I going to throw away a second place to do that? Probably not. But certainly, you know, if at any point during this week I'm running out of reasons to be motivated to go win, I'll keep that in my back pocket for sure. You know, it's cool to be, you know, able to, or have the opportunity to potentially do things like that. But for me, with where this season started and what I need to do as a driver, it's all about just doing everything I can and showing up every week, being as prepared as I can. So yeah, I'll try and make that a reality.
Thanks, Tyler. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Tyler. Once again, thank you for spending time with us. Congratulations again on this victory, and enjoy it this week.
Thank you.